right, I think we're good now. Yeah. All right, good. Perfect. Let's see if I can see the chat. I can. All right, perfect. What's up, Caitlin? Let's see. We're about to start the live on TikTok, and then we'll also put it up on Instagram. Add topic. Learn. What's up, Violet? All right, let's go live on TikTok. All right, perfect. All right, welcome to the live, everyone. It might take a little bit for people to start joining up, but hopefully it'll be pretty fast. So yeah, I'll probably just get started running through some questions. Why not? So if you guys have any questions, you can send them through the chat. You can also send it to the email that's in the description of this live. Either way works. And yeah, I'm just going to get straight into answering any of these questions. Welcome to the live if you're from TikTok as well. I need to do good on English. Yeah, it's kind of hard. English is definitely harder than the math section because it's kind of unpredictable, right? And yeah, so welcome to the live, everyone from TikTok. If you want to actually be able to see the screen that I'm going to be writing on, join up the YouTube live. Let's see. Let's open up the email. I have so many tabs open on my computer. It's absolutely ridiculous right now. Let's see. What type of questions do you want to see right now, guys? How about I start with a unit circle question? That would be fun. No, that would be mean. What do you think, guys? Have you guys been studying the unit circle for the test? Do you guys think it'll be on the test? Are you guys nervous? How do you guys feel about it? What question should I do first for English? In my opinion, you should do either the vocab and then grammar, and then go do the vocab, then skip to the grammar, and then go back to the reading, or you should do the I think actually my favorite is to go through the whole test, and every time you get to a question that you're like, I don't really want to do this because it's maybe long or challenging, I skip to the grammar and do 2 or 3 of those questions. So you're kind of going back and forth between the two. Can we try geometry circles with triangles in them and stuff? Yes, we're definitely going to do some of those today. Again, if you guys want whatever questions you want me to do, it's honestly best for you to just send me screenshots of questions to the email that's in the description of the live on YouTube. That's the easiest way for me to get your questions pulled up. Let's see here. Hard math question predictions. I'm pretty confident you guys are going to see a vertex formula question. You know when they say that actually I could pull one up. Vertex formula. Let's see. Right here. Copy. These type of questions. I predict you're going to see a question like this on the test. I would say it always starts with writing and grammar questions 16 to 27, and then I head back to the beginning. Yeah, a lot of people do that. Some people even go backwards. Can I go to the SAT question bank? Yeah, I can do some questions from there. What's the YouTube? The must be whatever. Go to the SAT question bank. Okay, let's do some questions from the question bank. Whatever, the live got banned on TikTok. So let's actually look at a question like this. Why not? So this is actually a pretty easy question. Let's split this and we'll do some Desmos with it. So we have in this question, it says a parabola in the xy plane has this vertex and it intersects the x-axis at 2 points. If the equation of the parabola is written in this form and b and c are constants, or a, b, and c are constants, what could be the value of a plus b plus c? So with this question, what I would do is I would take, first of all, you want to draw it. So it looks like we have our vertex at 9, negative 14, so down here, right? And it says it intersects the x-axis at 2 points. If it does intersect the x-axis twice, that means it has to open up, right? It must open up, which means that a is going to be greater than 0. Remember that in a parabola, if a is greater than 0, then we're going to open up. If a is less than 0, then we're going to open down, right? Actually, I should move this. Let's see so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. Yeah, like right here. Okay, so then I know that I can write in vertex form a times x minus h squared plus k, where hk is the vertex. So I can write this as a times x minus 9 squared plus or minus 14, right? And so they told me that this is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. So what I could do is then set this equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. And then 2 ways you can do it. One is you can either FOIL the whole thing out, or the way that I like to do it is you just go in Desmos and you put this into a regression. So I would write a times x1 minus 9 squared minus 14 is equivalent to ax squared plus bx1 plus c. And then you make a list for x1. And remember, you make a list for x1 whenever you're looking for values that are not x. So here we're looking for a, b, and c, right? And so then it told me, basically through the information in the problem, that a is greater than 0. So I'm literally just going to write a plus b plus c, and then I'm going to make a slider for a that starts at 0. And actually, I guess you could start at 0.001, right? Because it has to be greater than 0 and goes, let's say, to 100. Sometimes they say it's an integer. If they do, then make sure you have only integers, and you would just do that by making like a step of 1, and then we would go like 1 to 100. But here we'll just have like 0.0001 to 100, and we don't need to have a step. And what you see is that as a gets bigger and bigger, this number is just going to get more and more positive, right? So it looks like this number has to be greater than like negative 13.9999, right? And so what's the only answer choice here that's greater than negative 13.999, right? The only option we have there is the negative 11, right? So yeah, you are supposed to pick the biggest or smallest y value. But the problem is, when you say you're supposed to pick the value that's bigger than b, it depends on whether or not it opens up or down. What do you do if you can't fall asleep? I would meditate. Literally just search up on YouTube guided meditations to fall asleep, or like guided meditations for stress to fall asleep, and put that like under your pillow. Put your phone on, like you can search up how to do like a YouTube timer to turn your phone off, and just do that, and you should be good to go. Let's see here. Let's see if I can get back up on live. Let's see. You can go live as a guest. All right. 519 as a guest. You think there will be more geometry questions tomorrow? No. I think that it's like the same on every test. I think that geometry is usually like the hardest part of the test because you can't really prepare for it. And so, yeah, I don't think you really should be that worried when it comes to that. Yeah. I did all the past papers in 2 Prep Pro's hardest question files. You should be good. The Prep Pro's questions, I've done like most of them. I have like all my, everyone that I work with has looked through them, and I can promise you that they are definitely easier than like 90% of the SAT questions. There's going to be work word problems. You never know. But yes, there could be. If there are work word problems, they're going to tell you what work is, because if you don't know, work is from physics, right? So they would have to like tell you what the equation for work is. So it's like, it would be like just an easy word problem. Let's take a look. Should we do, let's see. All right, let's take a look at this question. Nah, it's too small. We got to make this bigger. All right. All right. Take a look at this question, guys. What do you think you should do for this question? We have a right triangular pyramid has exactly 6 edges. Each of these edges is 96 centimeters long. If the surface area of the pyramid is k square root 3 centimeters, what is the value of k? Right? So take a second to think about what you would do for this question, and then we'll do it together, right? This is like, would be one of those questions at like the end of the second module. I hope there's minimal geometry on the test tomorrow. I can't help you with that. There's definitely not going to be minimal geometry questions. It's usually like what, 6 or 7, like 6-7 questions per module, I think, in geometry. Although usually they're either really easy or really hard. So a lot of those geometry questions are going to end up being like pretty simple. Now this question is like probably not going to be on the test, I would say. There's a formula that you could know for this, but like I would really doubt this is going to be on the test. So you're supposed to know that there's like an equation for surface area of a pyramid, and it's 4 times what is it? 4 times the square root of, I think it's 4 times the square root of 3 over 4. Or something like that. 4 times the square root of 3 over 4. Then what? Like times x squared times, we can say s squared per side, right? And then you're supposed to figure out that if the edge is 96, that's this, right? So you just plug that in. So 4 times the square root of 3 over 4 times 96 squared, and whatever that would give you. So what's 96 squared? 96 squared, 9216. These cancel and you get 9216 root 3. Like, very unlikely for this to be on the test, but I guess you never know. How are your college apps going? Listen, man, not great. I mean, it's very, very stressful. Very stressful. But what can you do? Can you do trig examples? Yes, I can do trig examples. We will definitely do. Let's actually get one. Oh, this is a very good question. And I actually predict for this to be on the test. So this one is pretty easy, actually. So the exponential function f is defined by a b to the x. F of 5 equals 7. F of 8 equals 189. What is the value of f of 10? So these are just constructing functions. And so how I would do these questions, if you don't know how to use Desmos that well, is you basically have that for f of 5 equals 7. That gives you the equation. You can write 7 equals ab to the power of 5. And then f of 8 equals 189. You can plug that into what? 189 equals a b to the 8. So then you can say, like, you would solve for a, and you could say that 7 over b to the 5 equals a, and then you could say that 189 over b to the 8, 189 over b to the 8 equals a. And then since a is equal to this, so both of these equations, you could say 7 over b to the 5 equals 189 over b to the 8, and then you would solve for b. And then you would like plug in, you would use one of these two equations to solve for a. But as you could tell, by that point, it's like, what am I doing? Because in Desmos, as I assume you guys would think that you could put a question like this in Desmos, you can literally just go in and you would write like these points they gave you into a table. So you have what? You write table, and then you have 5, 7, and 8, 189. And then you literally just write y1 is equivalent to ab to the power of x1. And it would give you your equation. And so then literally you just write x equals 10. And you would look at when they touch. You could also, like, if you don't want to have to zoom out like this, then you could just write f of x equals ab to the x. Because now you've defined what a and b are. And then you could just write f of 10, right? And so that would give you 1701. These questions are like very common on the SAT. So yeah, you should lock in and figure out how to do them if you don't already. Let's go live on Instagram. Answering last. Tap into the Instagram live, answering last minute SAT questions. Let's do it. All right. Let's go from here. All right. So let's see. What else? Let's do a trig example. I'm going to pull up, let's do the SAT question bank. Let's see if I can come in here. Everybody, welcome to the Instagram live. If you want to ask a question, you can join up the YouTube live where I'm answering any questions you have, and I have a whiteboard up on the screen. You can actually see this is the setup right now. We're answering any questions you guys have for the SAT. But let's pull up a question from the bank for trig. Let's see here. Let's do a hard one. So let's do math, geometry, and trig, right triangles, and let's just do hard. Ignore the limit. Should we do SOHCAHTOA or should we do like a 30, 60, 90 type of question? This one's pretty simple. All right, let's do this one. All right, how would you do a question like this, guys? How much harder is the actual test compared to Blue Book practice? I would say like 15 to 20% harder. Can you do some arc length and sector area questions? Yes, I can. I'm definitely going to do some of those. Let's see. Okay, how do you guys think you would do this question? For anyone just joining this live, we are doing you could read this question here. I actually wonder if I could figure out a way. Oh, look at that. That's perfect, actually. Then I can't read the chat, though. The actual test is usually hard. I got 15, 20. Yeah, like that's like about right. Okay, so in this question, we're told triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF, where A corresponds to angle D and C and F are right angles. It says the length of AB is 2.9 times the length of DE. If tan A equals 21 over 20, what is the value of sine of D? So here we would draw these two right triangles, right? And so we have that, we have A, and then it says C and F are the right angles, so we could call this ABC, and then this is DEF. And it says that tangent of A is 21 over 20. So tangent, if we remember SOHCAHTOA, right? Tangent is opposite over adjacent, right? Opposite over adjacent. And so that means that tangent of A, our opposite is 21 and our adjacent is 20. And it says that the length of AB is 2.9 times the length of DE. So basically then we can find out all of our other sides by just dividing everything by 2.9, right? So it wants the value of sine of D. So sine of D is just, honestly, we could just figure out sine of D by using the triangle we know. So sine of D is the same as sine of A, right? So we could say that sine of A is opposite over hypotenuse. So that's x. So we just find the hypotenuse by doing 20 squared plus 21 squared equals x squared, right? And then I could just put that into Desmos. You could do 20 squared plus 21 squared. You get 841. If I square root that, 841, you get 29. So this is 29, right? And so then the tangent of A, which is the tangent of D, is just opposite over hypotenuse. So it's 21 over 29, right? So sine of A equals sine of D is 21 over 29, right? So that's not too bad of a question. Remember, if you have two shapes that are similar, you can use those two shapes being similar to just figure out one of the shapes and then just deal with the other one, right? that happens a lot in similar triangle questions where they try to make you like figure out this other shape, but it's just a waste of time, honestly. So yeah, not that bad of a question. I'll probably do an arc length one next. Let's see. I have way too many tabs open. Let's see. I've been looking at the College Board questions level 3 to practice hard problems. Do you guys think this is good? Yes, it is good. There's other sources that are harder, but no source is perfectly accurate because they don't make the SATs. So the SAT question bank is like arguably easier, but then the problem is that these harder ones are like almost too hard. So it's like, what are you supposed to do? I don't know, right? Let's see. Welcome anyone joining this live. Is it possible? Can you check Chinese and Japanese real exam? No, I cannot find the Chinese and Japanese real exam. Is it normal? Normally I don't eat breakfast. Should I eat it tomorrow? It doesn't really matter. Do whatever you think is going to be easy for you. I don't really like purposely eat breakfast. If I have a picture, can I share it to you? Yes, you can email my email in the YouTube live. Hi, I love you from Lucas. Thank you, man. I love you too, bro. 30, 60, 90. Those are easy. Can you show how to do change in metrics such as cubic centimeters? Yes, I can show how to do one of those. In fact, I'll just make my own because these are really easy. So let's say convert. Let's actually make this bigger. Let's say convert. How about we say convert 100 square feet per minute to, or let's say per hour to square feet per minute, or sorry, square inches per minute. Let's make this bigger. All right, so how would you do a question like this, right? Love from North Korea. Thank you, Sean. When is the live over? It depends. Probably around 7. So even if it's 2.9 times length, it's still 21 over 29. Yes, that is basically like the big idea with similar triangles. It's that even though the size of the sides are different, the actual angles will stay the same. Because think about it. If I multiplied all the angles in a triangle by 2.9, then they would all be, then they would add up to 180 times 2.9, and then it's not a triangle anymore. The whole point with similar shapes is that the angles are still the same. Okay, so how would you do a question like this? I definitely think you're going to see a question like this on the test, especially usually this shows up on the harder second module. So if you plan on getting that harder second module, you are going to have to know how to do this, right? Let's see. All right, so the first thing we need to do is realize what units we're talking about. So this is saying we have 100 square feet. That means feet squared. Okay, per means divided by hours. Okay, per means divided by. Make sure you know that. And we want to go into square inches, so inches squared per minute. Now, on the test, they will give you conversion factors unless they are talking about feet and inches, or if they're talking about time. So if they're talking about like hours to minutes or hours to days, they expect you to know that. And so what we have to do is realize, first of all, what are our conversion factors? So we know that 1 hour equals 60 minutes. And we know that 1 foot equals 12 inches. But the problem is that they gave us square feet, right? They gave us square feet. And so we cannot use this conversion factor. What we have to do is square it, because if they give us square feet, we have to square the conversion factor. So this means that 1 square foot, because 1 squared is 1, and then 12 squared is 144. So 1 square foot is 144 square inches, right? And so all I have to do then is I would say that I have 100 square feet, so 100 feet squared, divided by hours, times, let's get rid of the feet squared first. So you make a fraction and you say, if I want to get rid of feet squared, do I have to multiply by feet squared or divide by it? And the answer is you have to divide by it, right? And then you say, what equals the feet squared? Like, what are we using for our conversion factor? We're using inches squared, so that goes on the other side. And so then you put the numbers that match up. So it would be 144 inches squared, and then it'd be just 1 foot squared on the bottom. And now you have to get rid of the hours. So you say another fraction, you say to get rid of the hours, do I put a multiplier of hours or do I divide by hours? and you're like, oh, I need to multiply. That way they'll cancel. And you say, what equals the hours? Well, we know that 60 minutes, so minutes will go on the bottom. 60 minutes is 1 hour. So you do 100 times 144 divided by 60, right? So whatever 100 times 144 divided by 60 is, right? So that's 240. So the answer to that question would be 240. How many do you have to get right to get the harder module? Usually you can get like 3 questions wrong and you could still get the harder second module. It really just depends. Can you do something of the standard English convention? Yes, I can. Let's see here. I'm so nervous. You'll do fine. Will it be difficult in August? Please answer. I think it'll be about average. I've been using OnePrep. Are you familiar or no? Yes, I do know what OnePrep is. I've never used it, but I think it's probably pretty good. The Princeton Review Bank is definitely harder than the test, so I guess that's good. We can't see the left side of your screen. Join up the YouTube live and you can see it. Will the August exam be difficult? Again, it'll probably be about average. I'm trying to get my reading score from 600 to 650 in one sitting. That's pretty simple. Just study grammar. Let's see what else. Yes, I think Princeton Review is pretty good. Is there a place with harder questions that I found? I think Prep Pros is like the gold standard for like hard questions. So yeah. What else? Let's see. Again, guys, if you're here on Instagram, join up the YouTube live where you can actually see my whole screen and send me questions. Let's see if there's any more messages in the email. How about we do... vocab, please. For vocab, you really just have to study the vocab. How many do it's the same for English? It's usually a different amount because the English has more questions. Usually it's like 7 questions wrong for the math, and then like you can get at most 7 questions wrong, and then for the English it's usually like you can get maybe 8, but it's like different for every test. There's no like set in stone thing. If you're getting only like 5 wrong, you shouldn't be that worried. Your goal is really to get as little wrong as you possibly can on the first section. So yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to open up the chat for the Instagram on my computer. That way it's way easier for me to read the chat for you guys. Let's see. All right, perfect. I should be able to read the chat now on Instagram. Okay, so let's see here. Vocab, please. That's it. Can you do any vocab? I don't know any vocab at all. Is there any method? Literally, the method is to just search up 1,000 vocab words and study that. Let's see. How about, why is it not 1 over 60? Or why is it 1 over 60? Because you're trying, oh, it was 1 over 60. Sorry. I said feet, or no, you're tricking me. It's not 1 over 60. We put 1 hour equals 60 minutes, right? So basically you take the conversion factors that you know, and you say, all right, well, to get rid of this hours on the bottom, I need to put hours on the top, right? I forgot all my Algebra 1, my SATs tomorrow. You might be cooked. Let's do another question. I think I'll pull one from the question bank here. How about if RS equals 105, what's the value of sine of R? It's pretty simple. How about, let's do a vertex. No, let's do, what type of question do you guys want to see? You guys decide. What type of question do you guys want to see? English, math, what type? Let's see. How about some new search? Probability? Yeah, all right, let's do a probability question. Let's see. I want to pick a hard one. All right, let's do this one. This is a good question. This question showed up on a question like this at least showed up on a recent test. All right, what would you guys do for a question like this one? And again, guys, if you're joining the Instagram live, if you want to ask any questions, you could come into the YouTube live and ask any questions there. Okay, so what do we do for a question like this? I just did a question where I was doing the a plus b plus c. If you rewind the live, you'll be able to see. So this question says, the results of two random samples of votes for a proposition are shown here. The samples were selected from the same population and the margins of error were calculated using the same method. Which of the following is the most appropriate reason that the margin of error for sample A is greater than the margin of error for sample B? So remember, margin of error is a calculation of our uncertainty, and we will be more certain the more people we ask, right? If I ask 10 people in a school what their average GPA is, that's not going to be that certain. But if I ask everyone in the school, I'm going to be very certain. So in order for me to get a smaller, in order for me to get a smaller margin of error, I need to sample more people. So for this one, it says that sample A has a greater margin of error, which means that this has more people, right? Or sorry, less people. Less people. It is going to be less people, and then this one would have more people. Right? So yes, it would be that sample A had a smaller sample size. This is a question that they asked in a 2019 SAT, and I was saying that it was going to show up, and it showed up on the last SAT actually. So I would reckon that it might not be on this one just because it just showed up, but it's definitely possible that it'll show up. Right? So it's whatever. How about someone had said, how can I expect to score on the real SAT if I'm training with 2 hard modules in my practices? Probably pretty well. Probably like about the same. What is the best way to study for vocab? Literally all you have to do is search up. You literally just search up 1,000 SAT vocab words, and you come into this Quizlet. But if you're not already scoring very close to perfect, or you're not an international student, I don't think there's that much of a reason to study for it, because you have so much more that you can improve on, right? Like if you're scoring a 1200, why are you going to waste time studying this, right? It's like actually really a waste of time, in my opinion. Something with standard deviation, sure, I could do a standard deviation question. Those are pretty good. Let's see here. I have to find one though. Let's see. All right. It's mean, median. Remember, if you had an outlier, what happens to the mean and what happens to the median? You need to know that. You need to know that. Logically complete the sentence. I'll do that one next. The means, no. We want a standard deviation question. All right, let's do this one. By the way, these questions are from the official SAT question bank. So this question says a data set of 23 different numbers has a mean of 33 and a median of 33. A new data set is created by adding 7 to each number in the original data set that is greater than the median, and subtracting 7 from each number in the original data set that is less than the median. Which of the following measures does not have the same value? Right. So what we're doing here is we have this data set, and let's just create a dot plot for it. It says there's 27 different numbers, but I'm not going to waste time drawing 27 numbers. Let's just draw a couple. So how about we make it look like this? All right, so we would find some median, and here it actually tells us that the mean and the median are the same. If the mean and the median are the same, then what does that mean? It means that we have a symmetrical data set. So it would actually look like this, right? It would be like symmetrical about some line. And when we have that, the mean and median are the same. So basically right here, there's every number that is less than the median is here. Every number that's greater than the median is here. So if we add 7 to every number that is greater than the mean, now it's going to look like, maybe it'll look like this, right? And then if we subtract 7 from every number that's less than the mean, now it's going to look, or the median, now it's going to look like this. And so what happens is that now we have this new data set where these points here are still going to cancel each other out. Let's say this point was 10 and this point was 12, and now we just subtracted 7, so this one's going to be 3 and this one's going to be 19. Find the average of 3 and 19 and you would get 11, and find the average of 10 and 12, you would get 11. Since we added 7 to one and subtracted 7 from the other, the mean stays the same, right? And so the mean is not going to change, or I cross out median, the mean is not going to change. And then also we still have the same median, right? Because these 3 are still below it and these 3 are still above it. And so the median will stay the same. Now, will the sum of the numbers change? Again, no, because we just subtracted 7 from these and added 7 to these. So like, what's 10 plus 12? It's 22. And then what's 3 plus 19? It's also 22. And so there it would be like, okay, well, the sum of the numbers stays the same. But the standard deviation, that's a measure of how far apart our points are, right? It's a measure of how spread out the data is. And so if we just moved them further apart, then the standard deviation would increase, right? So the answer there would have been D. Someone said vocab cooking us. Yeah, for sure. Vocab is not the best. Do you need to print out the admission ticket? Yes, you really should. You definitely should, 100%. How many times should I take the SAT before I shouldn't anymore? You should take it until you get the score you want. After like 4 times, you should really be asking yourself, is this really the test for me? You should really be aiming to take it like 3 or less times. I would say maybe self-study the first time, see how well you do. If you think you kind of like push yourself really hard on the SAT, then I would say after that first try, maybe start doing like some paid prep. And then after like 2 times with paid prep, you should really be asking yourself, especially if your score is kind of plateauing, like what the thing is, right? Or sorry, what the situation is. Tutor by John is legit. Yes, thank you. Tips for time management. Goon by design. Come on. What specific number you need to for the SAT? You should know 12 inches equals 1 foot. Tips for time management. You really, honestly, on the math first section, you should be trying to finish the first math section in like not a lot of time. You should try to do the first math section twice. Any other sort of conversion we should know? No. Actually, well, time. So like hours to days and minutes to hours. Maybe that 1 yard equals 3 feet. Can you do longer English lesson where you have to analyze the text? Yes, let's do one of those. Take it tomorrow. First time, oh, you're cooked, Sweezy. First time 980, that is not good. But if you studied well, you'll do well. You're not defined by your first SAT score, defined by the last one. It's all about the journey to get there, right? I'm looking at the question bank and looking at practice tests, but haven't done it on Blue Book. Am I cooked? You should really try to do a Blue Book test. I mean, it's 6 o'clock right now. I mean, yeah, I would probably do one. Okay, let's try to pick a hard question here. I don't want to pick one that's too easy. All right, this one looks all right. Let's see. All right, let's take a look at this. Actually, should I make it bigger? Yeah. All right. Take a second to read it, see what you think. Again, if you guys have a specific question, you could send it into the email that is in the description of this live. All right, so this question says, one recognized social norm of gift giving is that the time spent obtaining a gift will be viewed as a reflection of the gift's thoughtfulness, right? So, by the way, when we read these questions, you really want to summarize them sentence by sentence. Like, take a step back and be like, what is this sentence really saying? So here it's saying that people think that the time that it takes to actually make or get this gift is a reflection of how good the gift is. It says these marketing experts address this view in their studies of norms specifically surrounding the giving of gift cards, noting that while recipients tend to view digital gift cards, which can be purchased online from anywhere and often can be redeemed online as well, as superior to physical gift cards in terms of usage, 94.8% of participants surveyed indicated that it is more socially acceptable to give a physical gift card to a recipient. So it basically says they found that recipients view digital gift cards as superior to physical gift cards. So they're better, right? So we could say that digital is better than physical, right? Digital is better than physical. But people think, this is reality, right? This is the reality. But people think that social norms tell you that the physical is actually better than the digital, right? So this finding suggests what? You should always ask yourself, before I even answer the question, what do I think it is, right? I think that this finding suggests that people have a mismatched understanding of the legitimacy of digital versus physical gift cards, right? So, and by the way, you want to almost like figure out why. Like what does that have anything to do with this? Well, in the first sentence, they said that the time spent obtaining the gift will be viewed as a reflection of the thoughtfulness. So I'm thinking maybe they think that the physical ones are better because it probably takes longer to get a physical gift card, right? You have to go out, you have to go to the store, you have to get it, as opposed to a digital one, you could just get it online, right? And so we look and it says, A, gift givers overestimate the amount of effort required to use digital gift cards and thus mistakenly assume gift recipients will view them as less desirable. Well, in the passage, we didn't really talk about the effort that it requires to use a gift. We're talking about the effort it requires to obtain a gift, right? And so this is off topic. And so then B says physical gift cards are likely preferred by gift recipients because the tangible nature of those cards offers a greater psychological sense of ownership. Well, this said the opposite, right? It said that recipients prefer digital ones, right? So physical gift cards are not preferred. Physical gift cards are likely to less desirable to gift recipients because ... Again, it said that recipients view digital gift cards as better. So, this would be wrong too. Gift givers are likely perceive digital gift cards as requiring relatively low effort to obtain, and thus wrongly assume gift recipients will appreciate them less. Yes, that is it, right? The whole point of the passage was that we had our gift givers thinking that the important part of the gift was how long it took. And so they're giving these people gifts that they might not want or that are not as good, right? As opposed to ones that might take less time but are better. And so yes, the answer there is D. Someone said, I've done every Blue Book practice test except the last and climbed from 14, 20, 15, 30. Do you think I have a chance of getting a 1500? Yes, I do. It just depends on the day. Ben Aton Joan said, Ghost of the Goon. All right, whatever that means. Time this kid out. Someone ban this guy. Could you do this one? Cami, let's see. I can't open the picture you just sent. You're going to have to send it through an email. Or if you just type it out, that works too. Someone help me with grammar hacks. I have a video on this channel for grammar. Make sure you just learn your rules. I tried and that didn't work for me. What did you try? Let's see. Would you take the SAT? That was 15. When did you take? So I took SAT in October 2023 and I got a 1570. And then I took the one in March again just cause, and I got a 1540. So what was that? 4 months ago. So I guess I'm washed, right? I'm unk. I took my SAT. It's almost 2 years ago now. So I guess I'm actually unk. How did you find the SAT compared to recent ones? I think that it definitely gets harder. Like, have I taken the paper test? Yes, I got a 1570 on the paper test. So I think that March is like the hardest test. March and June are historically the hardest, and then like October and December are usually the easiest because actually I don't really have to get into explaining why, but it's basically because of the way that businesses work. Like it's the most profitable to make them the hard ones in March and June and the easy ones in October and December. Thank you for the follow, David. June SAT was kind of easy except for module 2. I heard that the June English was pretty hard. Like, people were saying even like the notes questions, and I heard that the vocab was like an absolute disaster. August is usually about average. Actually, I may as well pull this up. This is like a pretty interesting graphic. Let's say what? It's August 2023 SAT difficulty. Let's see. Okay, so this might be like too small for you to read, but basically, actually, let me just make this bigger. Let's see. Copy. Okay, actually, this is pretty big. So this is just a graph of like the difficulty of all the tests between like 2019 and 2023. So you could see here that like December, I mean, this December one is like kind of out of here, and this October one is too, but usually it's like March is pretty hard. I guess October is sometimes pretty challenging. I think that it's usually October is pretty simple. And then you could see like the rest of them are pretty average, and then like usually December is pretty easy, in my opinion. But it's like all over the place. Like, you really can't just like guess that. You can't just like assume how hard it's going to be. Like, this could be the hardest test that they've ever given. You really never know. But yeah. I heard someone on TikTok talking something about the 3-verse-1 grammar rule, where if there's three out of the 4 options have that and 1/4 doesn't, the correct answer is the I would never like it's actually really I really don't like when anyone says like, oh, if there's a comma, or sorry, if there's a semicolon and a period, they're both wrong, or oh, if there's this and that, they're both wrong. That is not true. Literally memorize what each of them are for. I would figure out, oh, independent to independent clause, that's a period, or that's a period, a semicolon, a colon, or a comma, fanboys, or like whatever. Like, dependent to independent, that's a comma. Figure that out, and then on those questions, you split it up, and you say like, okay, is the first part independent or dependent? Is the second part independent or dependent? And figure out kind of what punctuation you should put. I have a video on the grammar on this channel. I have my SAT in 4 hours. Wish me luck. Good luck, bro. But you gotta go to sleep, dude. It is time to go to sleep, dude. Semicolon and period one works though unless there is a list. Exactly, that's the thing though. If there is a list and you do that, then you're gonna get it wrong. Could you do a semicolon problem? Sure, let's do one of those. Let's see. New search. Reading. Again, guys, if you're just joining the Instagram live, I am live on YouTube, where you can ask any questions and also email me. And then, David, I'll get to some of your questions after this one. Let's see. Right now I'm pulling up a question where we're going to do boundaries with semicolons. By the way, guys, remember, if you have a title and then a name and then a verb, do you put any punctuation there? As opposed to when you have a name and then a title and then a verb, what's the punctuation with that one? You have to know that for the test. You must know that. I just joined what's going on. I am doing a last-minute SAT review. If you want to join up the YouTube live, you can ask any questions you want on there. Let's see. Actually, I may as well just pull up. I have a better one of grammar. These questions are hard to look through. There's just so much of them. All right, let's do. Let's see this one. All right, question from the question bank. Let's make this bigger. This is big. All right. No, you don't put a comma. It depends on what we're talking about here. Sometimes you do put a comma. If it's dependent to independent clause, you do put a comma. You have to put a comma. If you go from like, while I was skiing, I fell into the snow, then you put a comma there. Are you currently in university? No, I am in 12th grade. Keep titles clean. Exactly. If it's title, name, verb, you put no punctuation. Title, name, verb is no punctuation. So title, name, verb, for example, Professor Josh went, right? As opposed to name, comma, title, comma, verb. So it's Josh, my professor, went, right? Okay, so this question says Latin America is known to have, doesn't actually skip all that. What you do is you read all the way up until the punctuation. Frog, yes, that is true. Only 5 of these dances are included in international ballroom dance competitions. You read up to the punctuation. You ask yourself, can that be its own sentence? And the answer here is yes, it can. So the first part is independent. Then you read after the punctuation, but excluding any of the transition words. So we say rumba, samba, cha-cha, paso double, and jive. The last of which is grouped with the other Latin dances despite not having Latin roots. We ask ourselves, can that be its own sentence? And the answer there is no, it doesn't really make sense. So then we're going to dependent. So what are the options when we're going from independent to dependent? We could do a comma, but that's only if it is non-essential, as in it is not essential to the sentence. You could take it out and it still makes sense grammatically and contextually, which would not make sense because it's including a lot of information here. But you could also have a colon, or you could have nothing. But something special about the colon is what it does is it introduces it introduces something specific. So we introduce the fact that there's only 5 dances included in international ballroom dance, and then we explain what those ones are. That is the very obvious use case of a colon. And so the answer is we would have a colon there. Now, keep in mind, you need to have transitions in between 2 punctuation marks always. Okay? Always. So like however here would have had to be inside a punctuation mark. So if you saw an answer choice that had like this, you wouldn't put that, right? Does the higher score I get mean the higher amount of baddies I pull? Yes, it 100% does. Except don't use me as an example. Let's see. This is my last one, so it'll be nice to delete the SAT content. Yeah. It's possible if you can do an arc length question. Yes, I will do an arc length question right now. But actually, let's look at this. All right, this one's not too bad. Okay, what would we do on a question like this one? By the way, again, if you are just joining the Instagram live, I am live on YouTube, so it is much better formatted. This is much better formatted on YouTube right now. It's just TutorBot is on YouTube. Let's see. How would we do a question like this? What was the hardest question for you on reading? Was it the long paragraphs? I think it's the voc. I mean, none of them are hard. It's just a matter of do you know the vocab or not, you know? Like the hardest actual questions, in my opinion, are like just those really long reading passages. So yeah. Okay, so for this question, what I would think to do is put it straight into a table. So if I put these points into a table, I can get f of x, and then I can just say g of x is 5 minus f of x. But I want you guys to notice something, and this is what I think they're going to do on the test. I think they're going to ask a question where you have to know this. And what you have to know is that if we put in the points of into a table of 4 comma negative 6, and then we have 3 comma negative 8, something extremely terrible is going to happen when we click this and then we click quadratic. What's going to happen is that 4 comma negative 6 is not going to be our vertex, right? If we zoom in, 4 comma negative 6 is not going to be the vertex. If we look, right, that's not our vertex. So why is that? Well, Desmos doesn't know that you want that point to be the vertex. It just thinks it's some random point on the line. And so we are like, we would be cooked there, right? Like it would be like, all right, well then what do I do? Well, here's what you do. You have to write this in vertex form. So this is a times x minus h squared plus k, where h comma k is the vertex. Okay, so h comma k equals here 4 comma negative 6. And so what we would do is write that we have a times x minus 4 squared plus or minus 6, right? And so instead of putting this regression, I'm just going to write my own. I'm going to write y1 is a times x1 minus 4 squared minus 6. And then we see, great, we have our graph and we have 4 negative 6 as a vertex. So now I can write that f of x equals a times x minus 4 squared minus 6 because we actually defined a. And even if I wanted to, I could actually just make this negative 2 and then delete that whole line. And now we have g of x is 5 minus 4, or 5 minus f of x. What is the y-intercept? You literally just write g of x equals 5 minus f of x. And then you would have that, right? And so it wants the y-coordinate of the y-intercept. So it's what, 43? Welcome to everyone joining the Instagram live. Again, this is all live on YouTube as well, where the formatting is much better. You won't have to squint to see these questions. How did you find a? It told me what a is. What I did is I went, I wrote y1 is equivalent to a times x1 minus 4 squared minus 6. And then I got that a was negative 2. It told me that it was negative 2. If you're on Instagram here, this is what it tells me. Right. I wonder if I could make this better. Like if I go like this, does it look better? But then it's going to be sideways, right? So it's like, then you have to freaking do all that. So it's like, it's cooked either way. I wonder if I could, let's see. Actually, I have a good idea. Let's do this. Oops. So let's, what other question should I do? Exams in 7 hours. You got to go to bed, man. Yeah, you can do that as well to find a, but like that's such a waste of time. It's just like whatever. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna see if I could set this up so that it looks better for the people on Instagram. Let's see. How about this? This looks better, right? Yeah. Could you show the solution again? Yes. Hold on. I'm trying to fix this for everyone that's on Instagram. Now it's like still kind of like small. And it's trying to focus. No, that looks worse. I wonder if, oh, I have a good idea. Let's do this. Yeah, that should be better. All right, let's get back to work here. Yeah, it's all about hard work, bro. You could run a business too. Let's see. Let's do another one of these questions that you sent me, David. By the way, guys, if it is, I know since a lot of you are internationals, if it is past like 10 o'clock wherever you live, you need to go to sleep, dude. This one's not going to show up on the test. All right, let's do this arc length question. All right. How would we do this question? Yeah, exactly. If the number of sleep, right? If the number of hours between now and your exam is less than 10, you're like cooked. You need to go to sleep. I have a question. What's the top 3 most important formulas to know? It's using Desmos. No vertex formula. Know the, actually that's, I would know the equation of a circle and discriminant. Know the discriminant. How can I find you on YouTube? Just search up Tutor by Design on YouTube. Okay, so for this question, we have an angle with a measure of 7 pi over 6 radians has a corresponding angle on a circle with radius 10. And then it says, what is the arc length of the sector defined by this angle? So corresponding angle just means that it's the same. So we have this circle and this angle of 7 pi over 6 radians. So it looks like this, but you don't really even have to know that. And so we want to know the arc length of the sector. How do you get the arc length of a sector? Well, its arc length equals circumference times area. Let's see. Let's move this. Times angle over 360, or circumference times theta over 2 pi if you're talking about radians. So here, all we have to do is it would just be the circumference, which is 2 pi r, times theta over 2 pi, right? And so we could actually just cancel these out, and it would just be r times theta. And so it's just 10 times 7 pi over 6, right? 10 times 7 pi over 6. And so it's 70 pi over 6. So the answer to that question is C. What's the prediction for probability type of questions? They usually always ask, like, what happens if I add points to a data set, or like take away points, or what happens if I add like 10 to every point, or subtract 10 from every point, or like what happens if I multiply every point by something, or divide every point by something. Also, you're probably gonna have to do a table at some point. Like they'll give you a table where it says like, or I'll show you. So it looks like, let's see. No, I don't want to do that. Let's say it'll give you a table, and it'll be like men, women, and then it'll say like yes and no, and it'll be like 20 men said yes, like 30 men said no, 25 women said yes, and like 15 women said no. It'll be like, what is the probability that a man says yes, right? You use discriminant when you have a quadratic and you're told how many solutions you have. And so when that happens, if it's not already, you get it into the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. And then the discriminant is equal to b squared minus 4ac. And if that is greater than 0, that means you have 2 solutions. If it is equal to 0, then you have 1 solution. And if the discriminant is less than 0, then you have 0 solutions, right? Arc length is radius times angle. Yes, that is if you are doing radians, okay? And it would be, that's actually how we get radians, if any of you were curious. Like, everyone is always questioning, like, oh, why do we even use radians? That's because it, like, tells us about the arc length of sectors, or the arc length of whatever. English or math, or just math? Either, but people like to ask math questions. Let's say, could you do a discriminant question? Yeah, I can do a discriminant question. SAT discriminant questions. Let's see. Like this is like a pretty common type of thing you're gonna see. Like, that's too small. Let's make this bigger. Where can I find a discriminant question? I'm too lazy to look through the whole question bank. All right, this is fine. All right. Let's see here. Is there a way to do this if you did not know what the arc length formula is? You would kind of have to know it. Okay, so for this question, we were given a quadratic because we have an x squared, okay? And we know that we have no solution, so we're going to get it. They told us what the situation was with the solutions, right? So we would have 2x squared minus 4x minus t is equal to 0. And so that is our ax squared plus bx plus c. And so here, it says it has no real solution, so that means that b squared minus 4ac is less than 0. So we have negative 4 squared minus 4 times 2 times our c is negative t is less than 0. So 16 minus 8 times negative t, so plus 8t is less than 0. So you get 16 is less than negative 8t. And then you would divide both sides by negative 8, right? And we would get that, let's move all this up. you would get that then negative 2 is greater than t, right? Negative 2 is greater than t. Why? Because when you divide by a negative number, you swap the sign. You swap the sign here. So you would say that, okay, if negative 2 is greater than t has to be, like, it could be any number less than that. So the only number here that's less than that is a. Honestly, whenever they ask what could be the value, always pick the biggest or smallest number. Someone on Instagram said, can you go back to that angle question? If you join up to YouTube Live, you can rewind it. Could you do with Desmos and not really need to know the concept? Yeah. Like, not really. Do you need to memorize the surface area formulas? The only one that you should know by heart is the one for like a prism. Thank you for the follow, Arvin. All you need to do is a slider if you see there's no solution. Sure, but the problem is that what if it's like a decimal? What if you get that like it's 17.3? And that kind of happens a lot, actually. And you would be like, okay, so it's 17.3, but I didn't know that, you know? Like, you wouldn't know that. The thing wouldn't tell you. Let's see if I can make this better. Quality. By the way, guys, if you are enjoying this live stream, make sure you hit the like button, guys. This is very helpful to the stream. Very, very helpful. Do you think there will actually be meters per hour second? Yes, there should be. Not meters per hour per second. That's ridiculous. But meters per hour, meters per second. Can you do something with multiple constants, for example? Yes, I can do one of those. Let's see. Let's see here. SAT constant question. All right, this one's good. All right. All right. All right, what do you guys think you are supposed to do for this question? All right. So what would we do for this question? We need to first write it in vertex form, but we should also draw this. So we have that, well, this has a vertex of -1, 4. So the vertex is going to be, we could say like here. And it says it doesn't intersect the x-axis. So if it opened down, it would intersect the x-axis. But we want it to never intersect the x-axis, so it has to open up. And so what does that tell us? That tells us that our a is greater than 0, right? So we would say that our equation is a times x plus 1 squared plus 4, right? And so we would then do, we set it equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. And then after that, it's cake. Absolutely cake. We put it into Desmos. We would just set these equal using a slider. Using a tilde. So a times x1 plus 1 squared plus 4 is equivalent to ax1 squared plus bx1 plus c. Remember, if you're looking for any number that is not x, here we're looking for ABC, you make a list for x, so 1, 2, 3, 4, let's say. And now we know that a is greater than 0, so I'm just going to write a minus b minus c and make a slider for a, where the minimum is, we could say like 0.00001, and we could have it go up to, let's say 100. And all we have to do is notice what happens as we move a up. It looks like it gets more and more negative, right? So the highest it could ever be is 4.002. As we move this, it's just going to start getting lower and lower if you look like that. So the answer there has to be A, right? These questions are actually really easy to do by hand as well, but people prefer to just do it in Desmos, right? A is positive, yes. It's so annoying that I can't like make this look nice. If you want to be able to actually see what's going on, join up the YouTube live. What are hacks for reading secondary questions 10 to 15? I would summarize everything sentence by sentence. Try to answer the question before you actually read the answer choices. I would try to draw like cross question or cross sentence connections. So like this sentence is supporting a sentence 2 sentences later, things like that. For reading inferences, also for every question, like I've been saying, if your answer is not supported in the passage, it's wrong. You should never have to make any like assumptions. Otherwise, it's wrong. If you have to make like inferences, then it is not correct. Let's see here. Welcome everyone that is on the YouTube or that is on the live from Instagram. If you want to see everything, I am live on YouTube right now and it looks like this. It's actually much nicer to look at. So it's way better, right? How far in advance does someone start studying if they want to get at least 1500? Like, I don't know, 6-7 weeks, like 6-7. How do I boost my testosterone? Eat onions. Okay, that's enough of that. If you're on Instagram and you're not already in the YouTube live, what are you even doing at this point, right? Welcome to all the people in the YouTube live that just joined. How do you know it's -5? Because if we start at anything greater than 0, it's going to be already not -4. If a was equal to 0, then it would be -4. But a has to be greater than 0, because if a was 0, then the graph would just be like, it would be 0x squared plus bx plus c. And then it wouldn't be a quadratic, right? It would just look like this. It would just look like a line. So it can't actually be -4. Touch receipts to boost testosterone? Yes, touch receipts all the time. Can you go over mean, median, mode, hard question? No mean, median, mode question is hard. If you add a point, if you add 10 to every single point, you're going to increase the median and the mean. If you take away 10 from every point, you're going to decrease them all. If you multiply or divide, if you multiply, you're going to increase everything. Divide, you're going to decrease everything. But be careful when it comes to range and standard deviation, because then it's not the same. If you add to every single point in the data set, you are not going to change the range. And know this, if the range doesn't change, the standard deviation doesn't change. So if you add or subtract from every point, then you will not have any change in range, and so you will therefore not have any change in standard deviation. Can you go over geometry? Yeah, I've basically been doing that this whole time. You guys should really give me some English questions. Math is so boring. No, I'm kidding. Math's not that boring, but it's actually pretty boring. What prism formula should we know? Like, you should know that the surface area is 2 length width plus 2 width height plus 2 length height. But like, honestly, you should be able to figure out the like the prisms pretty easily anyway. Like if I have a prism here, then and I have a length, I have a width, and I have a height, then there's a front and a back, or let's say there's a top and a bottom that are each length by width, so 2 length width. Then there's a front and a back that are each length times height, so plus 2 length height. And then there's these sides that are each width by height, so plus 2 width height, right? Can you explain unit circle? I would love to explain some unit circle to you guys. So let's, first of all, you do not need to know the unit circle, guys. I am promising that to you. You can solve every single unit circle question by just drawing this. Like, they'll give you, let's say you have a point here like A, and you have a point here like B, and they want to know what the angle is between these points. You could literally just draw triangles. You could draw triangles, because the distance between these 2 points is going to look like this. Basically, we have our angle that comes out from the center, and then we have the angle that comes out for the center, and the angle between the points is this. Okay? It's very easy to do. I could just make 2 triangles. I could figure out this angle by drawing a triangle that looks like this. So I'll draw this in red. So if I draw this triangle, and let's say they gave me that the coordinate here was like, I don't know, -1/2, root 3/2. I would draw that, and I would just say, okay, well, the x value is 1/2, so that's here, and the y value is √3/2. And then I would use SOHCAHTOA to figure out what this angle is. And then here, let's say this point was, I don't know, √2/2, comma √2/2. Let's move this here. Then all you'd have to do is you would go and say, all right, well, this is another triangle where this is √2/2 and √2/2. And I could also use trig to figure out this. And so, like, very simple. Do standard English questions? Sure, I'll do some of those. Let's do some right now, actually. Why not? Standard English. Let's see. Welcome if you're joining the Instagram live. If you want to actually be able to see what's going on, join the YouTube live, guys. Let's look at something here. So, all right, let's do this one. Let's find out, are you cooked for the grammar? We're going to find out right now. Welcome if you are joining the live stream on Instagram or YouTube. Again, guys, if you are taking the test in less than 10 hours, you need to go to sleep. You should not be watching the live stream. Honestly, 10 hours, like, but like, you really should be asleep. Yes, I'm cooked for everything. No, you're not cooked. You got this. What's up? Can you do a logically complete text? Sure, we can do that one after this. Okay, so when we have a question where the the words are all the same, and the only difference is the way that the way that we're saying it, the tense. What we do is we say, what's doing this verb? Now, the easiest thing to do first is to cross out anything non-essential, aka cross out anything that is in between dashes or in between commas. So cross this whole thing out, okay? And you just have several advantages, blank acoustic waves as a promising alternative. What is positioning the acoustic waves? It's several advantages. Is that plural or singular? If it's singular, you call it an it. If it's plural, you call it a they. So several advantages, that's they. So then you read they have positioned, they positioning, they by positioning, they having positioned. You ask yourself which one of those makes sense. The only one there is have positioned. Now, if more than one of them makes sense, you have to figure out if like the present tense is correct, like if it's present or past, and then you can like match it with, or you could like match with other verbs in the sentence. Again, guys, on Instagram, join up the YouTube. That's where you guys will actually be able to see what I'm doing. It's much better on there. Can you think the treasure with the long paragraph with the conclusion of specifically science, not a general English? Yeah, let's do one of those. And again, guys, if you have specific questions you want me to do, or like you just go through the question bank and you're like you could go through the question bank while I'm doing these and be like, oh, do this one. Just send me an email through the email that is in the description of this live. So let's see. Welcome to everyone joining the Instagram live. Let's see. We'll do a hard reading one. Skill. Difficulty hard. Let's see. What did you say you wanted? You wanted a long paragraph. Let's see. Where's the Gmail? It is in the description of the YouTube live. Search up Tutor by Design on YouTube and go to that live stream, and then it is in the description there. I'm trying to find a good one. It's kind of hard to figure one out. These are annoying. we could do this one. This one's like not that hard though, in my opinion, but we'll find out what you guys think. All right. Take a look at this. Any last minute recommendations for studying SAT or best ways to do vocab? For vocab, read the passage, then fill in the blank with the word that you would actually use, regardless of what the answer choices are, and then try to match up the word, or try to match up the like what you think it would be versus what they're saying. You're low-key saving me. I'm trying my best. Surface area for a cube, it is 4 pi r squared. If you know calculus, just integrate the volume formula. There's no side length in a cube. That's oh, you asked cube. Sorry, I was answering for a sphere. For a cube, it's 6x squared. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, my brain was not braining. For a sphere, it is 4 pi r squared. For a cube, it is going to be just x squared times 6. Okay, so how would we do this question? So it says Marta Call and colleagues 2010 Mediterranean Sea biodiversity census reported approximately 17,000 species, nearly double the number reported by these people in a 2000 census. A difference only partly attributable to the description of new invertebrate species in the interim. So basically, one study has a largely different amount of microorganisms being found than the other one. And it says another factor is that morphological variability of microorganisms is poorly understood compared to that of vertebrates, invertebrates, plants, and algae, creating uncertainty about how to evaluate microorganisms as species. So basically, there's uncertainty of like, what is the variability? Like, is this a species, or like, are these two different species? Or are they the same species? We don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. And so it says, therefore, researchers' decision on such matters therefore can be highly consequential. Indeed, the two censuses reported similar counts of vertebrate, plant, and algal species, suggesting that what? I would say this suggests that the difference in how many species they found is due to their difference in defining what a species of a microorganism is, right? So which ones do you think we would cross out immediately? Which ones do you think we would cross out immediately? Welcome if you are in the Instagram live. Make sure to hop over to the YouTube. So yes, I would say that D is definitely wrong, especially because coal had many more species, right? It's like almost the opposite, right? It's like literally the opposite. So that would be not right. And so let's see. Should I move this? Like, I really can't tell how I should position this. It's kind of hard to tell. To all of you on YouTube, sorry, or to all of you on Instagram, sorry that it's so like annoying. There's just like no way to do it better than this. And then A, yeah. And so we were told that there's a variability of microorganisms and it's poorly understood, right? There is an uncertainty about how to evaluate microorganisms. So I'm thinking like, okay, it's like it has to do with their different definitions of what a different organism is. And so I would say that it's here, right? Some differences observed were treated as variations within species, but they were treated as indicative of distant species with coal, right? She would look at these different people, or sorry, these different species and be like, oh, if this one's green and this one's yellow, then they're different species. But the other people might have been like, this one's green and this one's yellow, but they're the same species, they're just different. And so that would be why she found she found more. So it would be B then, right? What is the 2 length width, 2 width length? That is the surface area of a cube. I sent through Gmail. Let's take a look. This one's like, should be done by hand. Like, this should really be done by hand. No, I don't want to do that. All right, an exponential function f is defined by this. Actually, let me see if I can make this bigger. Actually, it's whatever. What are you in Valorant just for fun? I haven't played Valorant in a minute, but I was Ascendant, if you really care to know. I haven't played Valorant in a long time. Too busy helping all you guys. Can you please do this question? Angelica, send me a email, and I'll answer it there. Let's zoom out of this. This is too large. Okay, I'll do this one after. Okay, so for this question, all you should do is you would say that, like, okay, if f of x equals c to the x, then f of 6 equals c to the power of 6, and f of 4 equals c to the power of 4. So it's basically saying c to the 6 equals 9 times c to the 4. So, I mean, this is really easy. I could just divide both sides by c to the 4, and I would get that c squared, because 6 minus 4 is 2, equals 9, so c equals 3. It could equal plus or minus 3, but they tell us that it's a constant greater than 1. So it can only be positive. I have the SAT tomorrow. I want to review all of English. What should I do? You should not review. You should go to sleep. It's, at this point, you're cooked. I sent 2 math to your Gmail. Yes, I will solve them. Or I'm solving them right now, actually. Please answer my question above. I already did. It doesn't. It's so annoying. This Instagram Live it like doesn't work. Go over punctuation placement. Literally, I have a whole video on this on this YouTube channel. Now, what was the other question that you just posted? This one the other one cannot be done in Desmos. This geometry question you sent cannot be done in Desmos. But it's not that hard. Y'all want to do a geometry question? Well, guess what? You don't have a choice. We're doing one. Let's see. All right. How would you do a question like this? Again, guys, if you are enjoying the YouTube stream and it is helping you, make sure to leave a like. It really helps, and I am able to bring out some more content to you guys when the channel does well, right? Or when the channel does well. And if you guys are liking it, then I'll be able to see that you are, and I will be able to do more of these. I posted an explanation to that one a bit, or like a couple, or like a day ago. I can actually do that one though. Okay, so for this question, it says in the figure above, NP is the diameter of the semicircle, and angles Q, RS are right angles, so that means that we have a rectangle here. Obviously, point P is the midpoint of NQ. If PQ is 52 feet, and NS is 18. If the area of the figure can be expressed as A pi plus B, what is A minus B? So if PQ is 52 and P is the midpoint, this is also 52. So first, we can find the area of this. This is going to be 18 times 104, right? Because we have a length by width. And then here, it's going to be pi r squared for the area of a circle, but we only have a half of it, so it's 1/2 pi r squared. So we have 1/2 pi times our radius is only 26. It's half of the diameter squared minus 18 times 104. So we have, what's 1/2 times 26 squared times 26 squared? It's 338 pi minus 18 times 104 minus 1872. So what's A minus B? It's just 338 minus 1872. So 338 minus 1872 gives us negative 1534, right? Not too bad. All right, let's continue. Do you think you can over test 10 module? I have a whole explanation to test 10 on this channel. Actually, I did the whole math on this channel, so you could look at that. Let's see. What else should I do for you guys? Do you think that Blue Book and the College Board old paper tests are actually similar in difficulty? They're a little easier, I think. It's not really hard reading. Let's look. Actually, I have to do another one. Someone just sent me a different one before, and I never opened it. Oh, this one's not too bad. I've seen this one a lot. Oh, this one's too small. Let's make it bigger. All right, this is fine. All right, what do we think about this one? Remember, guys, if you are on the Instagram live right now, then join up the live stream, and you will be able to see. Like, I know it's small. There's like nothing I can do. It's like I'm zoomed in as much as I can. It like literally just doesn't work. Like, I can zoom, but then you won't be able to see like the whole screen. It'll be too far like zoomed out. Or sorry, it'll be too far zoomed in, so you won't be able to see everything I write. I guess that's a little better. But yeah, if you want to see the whole thing, just join up the YouTube stream. Which practice tests do you think are the hardest? I think 6 and 7, unironically. Okay, so one challenge when researching whether holding elected office changes a person's behavior is the problem of ensuring that the experiment has an appropriate control group. To reveal the effect of holding office, researchers must compare people who hold elected office with people who do not hold office but are otherwise similar to the office holders. Some researchers are unable to control which politicians win election, or since they are unable to control which politicians win elections, they therefore cannot pull valid data. Or like cannot consistently like find the correct people, because if they don't know who's going to win the election, how are they going to like study how someone acts when they do win an election? Like, you can't, right? And so A says they struggle to find valid data about the behavior of politicians who don't currently hold office. No, this has to do with like they are unable to get the proper people to survey, right? Because they don't know if they're going to win office or not. So probably not A, right? They can only conduct valid studies with people who have previously held office than people who presently hold office. That is not talked about in the essay at all, or sorry, in the passage at all. So, like, again, just like completely off topic. They should select a control group of people who differ from office holders in several significant ways. Aren't we trying to see how they act? Like, aren't we trying to see how people that do hold office act? So why would we want to pick people that don't hold office or that differ from office holders? Like, that just doesn't make sense. And then D, they will find it difficult to identify a group of people who can function as an appropriate control group. Yes, because they can't control who wins elections. So the problem basically is that, like, let's say you want to see how I'm going to act when I win an election. How are you going to know that I'm going to win the election? Like, you can't control that. So it's hard to find a control group because you don't know who's going to win. And so you don't know, like, what their personalities are like, right? And so that's kind of like an explanation as to why it is D. So how do you focus when it's a confusing or a complex English question? I like start summarizing it sentence by sentence. I also just like don't really get like unfocused, but that's like why you should be reading the news at the start of the test. Like, read the news before the test. That way you won't do bad. Let's see what harder regression problems. Yeah, I'm gonna continue doing some of those, but I want to do some of these featuring jagged peaks. Okay, let's look at this one. Let me zoom in on this. Let's see. All right. What would we do for this question? Do you have a Desmos guide where you can see all the questions you can answer with Desmos? Yes, I have it in my website. I'm struggling with inference questions. What strategy would you recommend? Try to figure out earlier in the passage. They're probably going to like say something that will support what the answer should be. So you're kind of trying to find where in the passage did they support something that is an answer choice. So like they might talk about like a study that found this, and then it'll be like, therefore the researchers concluded blank, and then it's like, oh, they just found something 2 sentences earlier. I'm going to use that to support my answer. Okay, so for this one, it says, featuring jagged peaks of black ink surrounded by hazy swirls of blue and green paint, this person's painting of panorama of Mount Lu is inspired by the tradition of this, a type of Chinese landscape, Pamun's blank. It is a type of, it's a type of Chinese, there's a type of thing characterized by, yeah, just a type of thing characterized. Yeah, this is characterized. And this is characterized. Is characterized. Welcome if you are joining on the Instagram live. Make sure you join up through the YouTube, where you can actually see what's going on. Much better on there. Let's see what else we have. What question should I do next? What question do you guys want me to do next? I think I have a couple in the email. So let's see. I don't know where this is from. This looks like it's from a leaked SAT. I don't know if I should do a question that's from a leaked SAT. Why not C? It is C here. It's gonna be this. I just crossed it out because it was weird. The writing was wrong. All right, how about this one? This one's what? This one looks like it's probability, or not probability. It looks like it's some type of question that has to do with. Actually, let's zoom out. Zoom in a little. Let's see if you guys know your stuff. Can you please do hard math ones? Yeah, let's do this. Okay, what do you guys think you should do for this question? What should you do for this question? So read it, and then it says, one method of calculating the approximate age in years of a tree of a particular species is to multiply the diameter of the tree, so age equals diameter, by a constant. So diameter by a constant, right? Diameter times a constant. And we say the table above gives the growth factors for, and the constant is called the growth factor, so we could say it's times factor, right? Actually, let's move this out of the way, and we'll move this down here so that it looks good. And then I'll move this out as well. So it says that if a white birch tree and a pin oak tree each now have a diameter of 1 foot, which of the following would be closest to the difference in inches of their diameters 10 years from now? So basically, all I have to do is the age of this pin oak tree, or let's do the white birch tree. Right now it's 1 foot, and the diameter, by the way, it's in inches. So if it's 1 foot now, then it's going to be 12 inches times the growth factor for the white birch is 5. So times 5. So it's 60 years old right now, right? And so then I have that. What do I have? So let's actually take this. Actually, we could leave that there. And so then I have that for the other one. What is it? The pin oak tree. That has an age of 12 inches times 3. So that is what, 36, right? And so now in 10 years, this one will be 70 years old, and this one will be 46. So it's literally just saying, okay, well, for the 70-year-old one, that equals the diameter times the growth factor, which is what, times 5. And then for this one, it's the diameter times, what's the growth factor for that one? It's 3, right? So 3. So for this one, now it's going to be 14 is the diameter, and for this one, what's 46 divided by 3? 15.33. So then the difference in diameter here is just 1.3, right? Difference equals 1.33. Have a question. What is your thought process step by step? Again, you always just summarize it sentence by sentence or line by line, and then you just like try to make cross sentence connections. Like, oh, this sentence is summarizing this other sentence, or like adding on to the other sentence, and you try to see like which sentences are giving not your answer, but like which ones are going to support an answer. I am mad scared. Don't be scared. It's so easy. Are leaked SATs real? If you buy a leaked SAT, you actually deserve the worst in life. That is like actually ridiculous. No, leaked SATs are not real. Then nobody is leaking the SAT. If you think you're leaking the SAT, you're just lying to yourself. If you are leaking the SAT, then holy moly, you should charge so much money. But no, none of these SAT leaks are real. I'm telling you, if you buy a leaked SAT, it is not real. I promise. It's from a past one. I don't really want to answer a past one in the middle. That's like not really good. But I can, if you DM me after this, I'll answer it for you. 750 range for math, but I'm the 600 for reading. First of all, that's cooked. Doing well in the grammar for the long reading comprehension. The vocab questions cook me. Study vocab. Long reading, again, I basically just said what you should do for long reading questions. How much longer should I stay on here? Let's see what's going on in the chat. Let's see here. If any of you are on the live right now, join up the stream. Join up the YouTube live where I am answering any of your guys' questions. My phone's going to die soon. Maybe once my phone dies, I'll end the stream. Can't have a dead phone. That's not good. Yeah, guys, continue sending me questions here. Let's see. It's a hard grammar question. Let's see. I think this is a new one. All right, this is like it's a new grammar question. All right, let's take a look at this one, guys. Is doing all the skip around in certain sections, i.e. on the second math part, work? I think that you should just have some type of like straightforward plan. Like for me, I like would go straight through it and like skip the questions that I read in there. I'm like, what's going on, and then like go back. Or some people on the reading, they'll like do the vocab first, and they'll skip to grammar, and then they'll go back at the end. If we do what does text 1 say about text 2? Yeah, just find an example and email it to me. That way I don't have to look through the question bank because it's such a waste of time. Okay, so let's do this one. In a recent analysis of lyrical trends in 350,000 songs, researchers cite increases in certain measures, such as the ratio of choruses to verses, as evidence music lyrics are becoming more repetitive. For instance, from 1970 to 2020, rocks and raps chorus to verse ratio. So for this question, their chorus to verse ratios trended similarly. This was not too hard. What do you guys think we should do for this one? Rocks and raps. So what we need to do, derivatives, get out of here, boy. Derivatives, this is not a calculus test. All right, you will never have to do derivative. So for this, yes, this is actually something that I've been saying for so long, and it's that until now they've always only tested based on like the word right before the, like they'll be like, oh, for this word to have an apostrophe, it just matters like what's after it. And so for that matter, it'd be like, okay, rock, that does not own the word and, so there shouldn't be that there shouldn't be anything there. And like wraps does own chorus to verse ratio, so there should be it there, and so it would be D. But no, because rock has a chorus to verse ratio, right? They both own their own chorus to verse ratio, and because of that, it's B. So for D, that would be like not understanding why, or it wouldn't be taking into account that rock has its own chorus to verse ratio, right? And so even though the word right after rock is and, which obviously it doesn't own the word and, it still owns the chorus to verse ratio, and that's like what we're talking about. This is a complex subject here. I just sent one. All right, let's do this. Again, guys, if you have any questions, you can email it to my email that is in the YouTube Live description. YouTube Live is literally just Tutor by Design on YouTube. You search it up and it'll come up. Let's see here. All right. All right, this was not that bad. All right, what would we do for this question, guys? Why is it only showing me the... It's only showing me the top chat. I want to see the live chat. I'm mad scared. Don't be scared. Is doing... Could we do... all right. We're cooked. Who is we? Don't speak for everyone here. This is too small. Let me get a bigger picture of it so that you guys can actually see that are in the other stream. Actually, what I could do is just... this is so small. Don't worry, guys. Size doesn't matter. It's all about the motion of the ocean, right? How much longer are you live for? I don't know. Probably like... I said I was going to end this at 7, but I don't know. Probably between 7. Sometime between half an hour and an hour from now. So in the figure, point C is the center of the segments. AE and BD are the same then. Or sorry, point C is the center. So... of AE and BD. So yeah, okay, that just means that like this is like that this X is equal to that, and that like this whole thing is equal to that whole thing, right? So it says the area of the shaded region is 935 pi. The length of segment BC is 19. What is the length of segment AD? So what I would do is say that the area of this BD, or yeah, the area of the triangle of this circle is pi times r squared. So that's going to be pi times 19 squared. What's 19 squared? Let's see. 19 squared. That's 361. So it's 361 pi. So this is 361 pi. And this whole then shaded region is 935 pi. Then the total is 361 pi plus 935 pi. So it's what? 1296 pi. And so then all you have to do is figure out, all right, then the area of the bigger circle is still pi r squared. So pi r squared is 1296 pi. I'll just do the square root of 1296. So the bigger one is 36. So the radius of the bigger one is 36. So AC equals 36, right? AC equals 36. And we want AD. So then CD is just another radius of the small circle. So it's just 19. So it'd be what? 36 plus 19. Let's see. Is that the hard questions? Let's see. I see. I'll answer those ones next. This one that you sent me about the two identical rectangular prisms, I answered that a while back. It's actually in my... It's on my TikTok. Scroll like all the way to the bottom. It's like one of the first videos, or just like filter for newest or oldest. Sorry. Can you go over grammar rules? I have a grammar video posted. But for grammar rules, I have like there's too much to even go over. You could get, isn't it 19 plus 19 plus 36? No, it's not, because this whole thing is 36, right? This whole thing is 36 from, I should actually do I'll take a new picture so you can actually see what I'm doing or what I'm saying. So we found that the radius of the big circle is 36. So this is 36, and then CD is just the radius of the smaller one, so that's just 19, right? Okay, let's do another one. What percentage is my phone at? Welcome everyone that is on the Instagram live. Let's see. Welcome everyone that's on the live. I am currently live on YouTube. Check it out, Tutor by Design on YouTube. We are locked in for the SAT, guys. By the way, if you get cooked on this SAT, you can always head over to my site where I have 12 hours of courses available, as well as if you purchase anything on the site or book a one-on-one session with me, which yes, you can do that through the site. I give you access to a free, yes, I said free, group session before every single SAT. Basically, earlier this week, I had a 2.5-hour session where I did not just answer random questions like I'm doing here, but I had a full lesson plan where I went over things that you must know, and then I answered a couple questions, but I went over all the grammar rules. I went over a lot of things, actually. And that is before every single SAT. I'm going to be doing that if you are a member of my site. Get your bundle before the sale ends. What did you try to do when checking over your work? It's really hard because if you look over your, usually you don't really even have time to look over your work. I mark ones that I'm not sure on, and then I'll cross out all the ones that I'm sure are wrong, and then I'll pick one that I'm like, okay, if I really don't have time to come back, like this is the one that I'd be comfortable leaving, and then I go back and I'm like, okay, I'm stuck between these two, like let's figure out which one it is. But yeah, what do you recommend for conquering hard reading passages? You need to summarize sentence by sentence. I say this all the time. Can you do some geometry or any tips on geometry? If you're talking about any 2D shape, so like something that doesn't have a volume, and it is a regular shape, the word regular, you can always find the area by doing triangles, okay? Make sure you know your 30, 60, 90 triangles, and you should be good. What percentage is my phone at? 15. Once it dies, I'll probably end, or I'll definitely end it on Instagram because I won't be able to do it. Can I do advanced math? Yeah. First, though, I need to finish some of these other questions that were already sent to me. If you send me, Alex, this question I've done before. This is not going to be on the test. This is not something you have to know. Okay, I'm just going to show this in here. But anyone that has done this, I know that this is in like all those servers that like quote unquote leak things. This is not going to be on the test, guys. Like, I shouldn't say that because you never know what's going to happen. But like, guys, you got to get a grip here. All right. What do you mean triangles can find all areas? If you have a regular shape, meaning that all the sides are the same, you can always just figure out like the area of the shape by just drawing triangles. So like for this, like I can just draw triangles to the center. And then what happens is you realize that all these triangles are the same. And so these will all add up to 360. And if there's 6 of them, then each of these angles are 60. And so like each from the center of a regular shape to any point or any vertice is the same, which means that these are the same. So this is isosceles. And so these are also 60 degrees because they have to share that 120 that's left. And so it was on the June SAT. Yeah, it was on the June SAT as an experimental question. There's no way they are putting this on the test. This is something that you do not have to know. But if you would really like to know, you're supposed to realize that these are, and by the way, wait, so here then you could figure out what the area of these are. Like they would tell you this is 10 and you'd be like, okay, this is 10, this is 10. And then you can make a triangle of 30, 60, 90. This will now be 30. And you could use that to then find, like then you have a 30, 60, 90 triangle that looks like this. So 30s here, or sorry, 60s here, 30s here. And then this is 5. This is 10. So this is X. is across from 60, 2x is across, or sorry, x is across from 30, 2x is across from 60, and, or sorry, x root 3 is across from 60, and 2x is across from 90, so this would be 5 root 3. So the area of this triangle is 1/2 times the base of 10 times the height of, actually I should move this back here. It's 1/2 times the base of 10 times the height of 5 root 3. And how many of those triangles are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 of them, like 6, 7. How many times did I say that? I'm actually losing my mind, guys. I'm sorry. Anyway, for this question, you're supposed to know the following formula, and this is why I know that this is like definitely an experimental question, because you've never had to know this. You're supposed to know that if this is A and this is B, and this is C and this is D, that AB equals CD. It's some like weird formula. Okay, so you're also supposed to know that BD is similar, or sorry, like this triangle here is similar to this triangle here, right? And so you're supposed to realize that then like the lengths are the same of BD and DE. So actually, let's move this over. So make a look at that. Okay, so that, oh my gosh, why do I keep doing this? Let's make this bigger actually. Okay, so you're supposed to realize that AB equals BD or CD. And so you're supposed to realize that this is root 220. This is root 220. And then you could say that AD is X, and then DC is 115 minus X. Because A to C is a diameter. Because this right angle of B should make a 180 degree arc. Remember, if you take a point on the circle, let's say this is 20 degrees, the length of the arc will be 40 degrees. And if you take a center point and make it an angle, let's say this is 20 degrees, then the arc will only be 20 degrees. So since this angle B is a right angle, it makes an arc of 180 degrees. And then a diameter splits up an arc that is 180 degrees. Are there experimental questions in the English section? Yes, but it's much harder to tell if they're experimental. So for this, we're supposed to say root 220 times root 220 equals 115 minus X times X. And you would find what X is. I'll just do it in here, actually. So the root 20 times root 20 is just 220, and that equals 115 minus X times X. And so it tells you that X is whatever this is. So then you just, oh, it's root 226. Sorry, I messed up the reading. It's 226. I'm actually losing my mind, guys. Root 226, root 226. That's what the SAT does to a man, all right? So then you get that X is 2. And so this is 113 because it's 115 minus 2, and this is 2. So then if you're trying to find the value of CD over AD, it's just 113 over 2, right? How much surface area formulas do you need to know? Like none of them. You only really need to know the surface or the prism one, and then they'll tell you the other ones. I guess you can know, like, it's really not that hard. You can know surface area of a sphere is 4 pi r squared. Surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh. Other than that, like, you should be fine. Like, they might ask you about the surface area of a pyramid, but you can just split that. You can just turn that into like 2D. Like a pyramid looks like this. Actually, let me reload the page. So a pyramid looks like this. It's just a base. Actually, let's look like this. Looks like that. It's hard to draw a 3D prism. So, or a 3D pyramid. And so it's just a base, and then it's just like 4 triangles. If it's a triangular pyramid, then it's only 2. Or sorry, it's only 3 triangles. If you are just joining the Instagram live, join up the YouTube. Can you go over no solutions? I would love to go over no solutions. SAT no solutions. Questions. Okay. I'll just give you one. Actually, let's do a hard one. This one's not hard enough. 5. Let's see here. And we are about to do a no solution question, guys. Okay, let's take a look at this. What's to do with SSA or ASA? SSA is not a thing. Remember, SSA means you have this, and this is no good. For similar, you have AA. For angle, you have SAS, and you have SSS. And then for congruent, you have angle, side, angle, angle, side, side, angle, side, and hypotenuse, leg if it's a right angle triangle, and you know that the hypotenuse and the leg are the same, or you know that the hypotenuse and leg are like same as in another triangle, like this is X and L. Welcome everyone that is on the live stream on Instagram. Join up on the YouTube. It is much better. You can actually like see what's going on if you're joined up on the YouTube. It'll look like this. Much better. My phone is about to die too, so you may as well. Right? So yeah. Okay, so no, you should not do this with a constant, because what if it's like 13.2 for the answer? Then your constant's not going to figure it out. So it's like not really that good of an idea. What should I eat for breakfast? Whatever you usually eat. So SSS congruency proves similarity. Yes, if all the sides are the same, then all the angles are the same. Okay, so for this question, we need to get y by itself, and here's why. This is definitely going to be on the test. Actually, not, I shouldn't say definitely, but like very likely. If we have two lines that never intersect, which means they don't have solutions, look at this. What do we notice about these lines? And I'm going to give you a hint. The equation for a line is this. So the only two things we could look at is the m, the slope, and the b, right? So we could do that. So what we should do is just change, or just get mx plus y equals for both equations. So for this one on the top, we would add the 3/2 y to the other side and get 6/2 y, and then equals, we'd add the 1/4 x to the other side, so 1/4 x plus 2/3. And then I'd multiply both sides by 2. I'd say 6y equals 2/4 x plus 4/3. So y equals 2 over 24x, dividing the 6, plus 4 over 18. And then for the other one, I would just subtract the 9/2. So I'd say 1/2 x minus 6/2 equals py. And so then all I have to do is get y by itself. So I'll say 1 over 2p times x minus 6 over 2p equals y. Then all I have to do is set the slopes equal. 1 over 2p equals 2 over 24. 1 over 2p equals 2 over 24. You get 24 equals 4p, so p equals 6. And then if you really wanted, you could plug it into a graph and check. How many times did you take the SAT? I got a 1570 on my first try. I took it again in March, and I got a 1540, but I got a 1570 on my first try. Let's see. Okay, let's see this one. I never even saw this. All right. Let's get to this question. Unit circle. Unit circle. Oh, why is it 6? Because that is what gave you the same slope. The same slope. You need to have the same slope. You self-studied? No. I could have, though. I started at a 14. Like, the first practice that I took was a 1460. Honestly, guys, I do not recommend getting any one-on-one help until after you take your first test, because it's just a waste. You don't even know how well you could do by yourself until you try, right? Have you seen the College Board SAT question bank? Questions that are new? Yes, but they're easy. Do a geometry question? Well, look at what we have. How long did you prep for the first SAT? I took the first SAT as a sophomore. I started studying in the start of August, and I took it in the start of October. So what? That's 2 months. August and September. I took a practice test every single day that I didn't have school for 2 months, as well as I did like practice reading passages every single day. I finished all of Khan Academy English and all of Khan Academy Math. So I was doing a lot of stuff. Welcome if you just joined the Instagram live. Check out the YouTube live. Just search up Tutor by Design on YouTube and you will see it. That way you can actually see what's going on. Okay. In the XY plane, O is the center of a circle. The measure of AOB is pi over A radians. What is the value of A? Literally, you could just make this into a triangle. and the y value is root 3, and the x value, or sorry, not the y value, the x value is root 3 because that's the x, and the y value is 1. And then this is just an angle. So it's just, you could say tangent of theta equals opposite over adjacent 1 over root 3. And so what I would do is I would first get this. Well, actually, you could just say this. So, so then you would say that theta equals tan negative 1 of 1 over root 3. So let's call tangent of theta A. Or let's not call it A because there's an A here. I'm going to call it T for theta. T equals tan negative 1 of 1 over square root 3. And make sure you're in radians, okay? When you have a pi, you're dealing with radians. So we are. And then literally all you do is you set T equivalent to pi over A. And it'll tell you what A is. Because that's like what our angle is. If you're on Insta, this is what this looks like. Have you graduated high school? No, I'm still in high school. Can you try to do problems in Desmos? Yeah, some of you want me to do in Desmos. I'm like mumbling, guys. This is like this week of SAT studying, guys. It's crazy enough to think, but I guarantee you I have done more SAT studying this week than you guys, and any of you guys have. And I'm not even taking the test. But I don't know. Welcome everyone that is joining up the Instagram live. Check out my YouTube live where you can see all of these lovely chats from everyone, as well as like on the Instagram you can't really see anything, but on the YouTube live you could actually like see stuff, and you can send emails of questions to me. Much better. Let's see. I gotta plug in my phone if I don't want it to die. It's really gonna die, but it's whatever. Where do you want to go to school? I want to go to Stanford, but I don't know about it. It's kind of, as we all know, college admissions is a tough game to play. What do I want to study in college? I want to do something in business. I honestly want to do entrepreneurship, but like that's not a major. So it really just depends on the school, like whatever is closest to that or like the most beneficial. But then depending on the school, I then want to get a double major with either CS or physics, mechanical engineering specifically. So like whatever. SAT final boss, literally yes. It's like you take the SAT and you're like, I'm never going to touch this again. I took the SAT, I got a good score, and I was like, all right, let me start doing it like every day basically. Why did you inverse the function? So when you have like theta here, you can't just divide both sides by tangent. That's not like how it works. You have to inverse tangent it to get, like if I have like sine of x equals 2, x equals sine negative 1 of 2. Let's see. Is it 6? Yes, it is 6. Beautifully done, everyone. It is 6. If you could see, I put it somewhere here. You can see that it's 6. So hard to get all of this showing. It's really is. I have to figure out a better way to stream on Instagram, but I was trying to do TikTok and it wasn't too bad, but whatever. Switch over to TikTok or switch over to Instagram. Sent over an describe question. Yeah, sure. I'll do that one. So I understand most kids do regression, but can you explain the regression here? In this one, literally just setting like you have that, like this is going to give you some value that you don't know, but you know that that's equal to pi over a radians because they tell you that. So I just set it equal to pi over a. How do we think of pi over a? Because it literally tells us that the angle there is that. Like this will give us what the angle is, and then we just set that angle equal to this. So yeah. Do I work? No, this is my full-time job. I do this over 40 hours a week. All right, let's look at some other questions. Literally, I do this more than 40 hours a week because I do a lot of in-person tutoring. This question is not going to be on the test. This is like ridiculous, but sure, I'll do this question. Like, who comes up with these guys? You like the SAT, like all of these. I mean, not even TikTokers, but because it's not the TikTokers, but like people that make prep material, and this is a tale as old as time. They make these extremely like challenging questions that are just not on the test. Because it's supposed to scare you, and then you buy their prep courses. This question, I really doubt this question would be on the test, guys. Do you use Desmos for most of the math question? A lot of them. Memorizing unit circle is go-to? Yes, it is. I mean, you should not be using Desmos at all if you don't understand the actual math. Like, Desmos should be saving you time, but it shouldn't be doing the work for you. Otherwise, you're not going to do well on the test. Because you actually have to have, like, an understanding of what's going on. What's up, Gabe? Again, guys, if you are trying to actually see, like, what's going on here, it is much easier to see what's going on if you join up the YouTube live stream. Check out Tutor by Design on YouTube. That is where it's at. Oh, why did I suggest to read? Gabe, this question's not going to be on the test. I promise you guys that. Why do I suggest to read the news? Because it gets your mind flowing. It gets your brain working. Couldn't you change radians to degrees? Yeah, so you could have left, like if I had this in degrees, it would give me 30, and then I could just do 30 times like 180 over pi, or times pi over 180, and you would have, like, that would give you, if you did this by hand, it'd be pi over 6. And so you'd be like, okay, A is 6. Best here in the nation? Oh, I hope so. Okay, so triangle ABC is inscribed in semicircle center D. What is the area of triangle ABC? Well, what I would do here is, it looks like my, it looks like, okay, this angle is 120, right? And so this is going to, I'm trying to think, would I want to figure this out? Like, would I want to solve this? You could draw, or if we draw this like this, so we have that this is what, 6, and that's 60. So okay, these are the same. Oh, all right, so that's good. These are the same. These are going to be, we'll just call them X and X, I guess. Since Z is centered. And so then that means that this is 30 and this is 30. I can split this into then 30, 60, 90. So this is 30, this is 90, and this is 60. And so if this is 6 total, then this is 3, because I just split it in half. So then that means that this across from the 60 is x root 3, across from the 30 is x, and across from the 90 is 2x. So if 3 equals x root 3, then 2x equals, or actually let's get x. So 3 over root 3 equals x, which is what, 3 root 3 over 3. So it's just root 3. So root 3 is x. And so that tells me what this is. And so then I could, then I have what? So that means that the height then, or that's not that, this is not root 3. The height is root 3. And then this is 6. So let's actually get a new picture, and I'll like actually write in what I just found. So that means that this is, what is that? That's root 3. And then this is 2 root 3, right? And so then all I have to do is do the same exact thing for the other triangle. So like, okay, so first of all, the area of this end is 1/2 base height. So it's 1/2 times 6 times root 3. So it's what? 3 root 3 is for this one. And so then for this, if I split this in half, this is equal and this is equal. So these are all 60. So I would just split this in half and make, again, a 30, 60, 90. And so in this triangle, I have, I guess I'll draw it up here, or I'll draw it down here. So then this is like a disastrous mess, but then I have, it looks like this, or it looks like this. This is a right angle, this is 60, and this is 30. And so this here I know is my radius of 2 root 3. So it's this is 2 root 3. And so then I know that this is just root, across from the 30 is root 3, because across from the 90 is 2x. Across from the 60 is x root 3. And across from this is just x. So across from the 60 is root 3 times root 3, so it's just 3. So now that tells me that this is what? That's going to be what? 2, 3, no. 2 root 3 times 3 times a half. So 3 root 3. So we got 3 root 3 for this, and we got 3 root 3 for that. So it's just 6 root 3. How do we know 8? Okay, so that was a long question. We get 3 root 3 plus 3 root 3. I guess we probably also could have figured out that they were similar. Would you join FaZe Clan? Yes, I would, 100%. Do accounting. I would never study accounting. I already took accounting class. It's actually the most boring thing ever. How do I get to Desmos to get the how to use Desmos to get the answer for a variable? How can I solve an unknown variable question? Literally, you put the question left and right side of the question in. You put x1 or y1 if you ever have an x. So you just type x and then 1 every time you see an x or a y. And then you set them equal using squiggly lines. Again, if you guys have any questions from the Instagram live, join up the live stream and you can email the email that's in the chat. For this question, BQC identical outer triangle, use special right triangle Pythagorean theorem, missing side AX, since we know this is a disastrous question. Could you go over one of the module 2 English questions, especially information ideas? Send me one. Just literally just email one to my email that's in this that's in the description of this. Oh, these questions are really easy. These questions actually I could foresee being on the test. I like these questions a lot. What do you guys think we should do for this question? What do you guys think we should do for this question? Probably going to end soon. Could you use ChatGPT to create practice problems? Yes, you could. But sometimes it gets them wrong. So it's like, you want reading tips? What type of reading questions? Make sure do regressions always work? I mean, if you write them incorrectly. But a lot of people write them wrong. Okay, so reading tips, make sure you do the reading last. Honestly, for most people, do the actual reading part last. Make sure that you try to summarize things sentence by sentence. If your answer is not actually in the passage, you can't find where the answer is, then it's wrong. You should not have to infer. If you have to infer, then the answer is wrong. Also, try to draw cross sentence connections because that's usually what they want you to do. And yeah, if something is kind of wrong, then it's always wrong. Okay, let's look at this one. So you're supposed to know the following thing. These two are equilateral. If they, sorry, they're not equilateral, they're isosceles. If they give you this, which by the way, this person already drew on it, but usually they wouldn't give this line of AP. But if they ever give you this black part, you're gonna draw a line here and realize they're equilateral. So this is 20, and so this is 20, and this is 20. So if these are both 4, then these both add up to 40. And remember what I said earlier, if these both add up to 40, this adds up to 80. This will always be double. The ones touching the circle will be half of the ones in the center of the circle as long as their endpoint are the same. And so it wants, what is the value of x? The value of x is just 80. So it's not that hard. Vocab tips, there's literally nothing you can do. Study the vocab tonight. Maybe actually don't study the vocab. It's a waste of your time. Literally read the passage, fill it in with what word you would put, regardless of what the answer choices are. Try to match up what you would put in with the answer choice. Always look at the answer choices that you know first, because if you know 3 of them and you know they're all wrong, then the 4th one that you don't know is the right answer, right? Once you're stuck between 2 that you don't know or 3 that you don't know, or maybe even you don't know any of them, literally just try to match prefixes, suffixes, and roots. Maybe you could also do I also like to match it up with a word that sounds similar. So a good example is innocuous and innocent are very similar. Haphazard and hazard are very similar. It only works sometimes, but if you're really cooked, you may as well try. And then after that, literally just guess. Try to figure out the connotation. We as humans, we inherently can determine connotation for some reason, I've noticed. Can you do English grammar tricks? Now, comment ways on how to find main idea, purpose, and whatnot quickly. Grammar, I have a video on this channel. Main idea, easy way. It's very easy to cross incorrect answers out of main idea because usually they'll give you answer choices that are just they'll usually give you answer choices that are just like summarizing one of the sentences as opposed to summarizing the whole passage. So like be on the lookout for that. And then also like you're trying to summarize the whole thing. So you want to include something that like encapsulates what the whole thing said, not just one of the sentences, right? What hard question do you think are most likely to appear? Vertex form question. Honestly, I feel like this question is going to show up. I haven't seen it in a while. Can I solve any equations on my calculator? Yeah, you can solve a ton of equations on your calculator. Okay, let's look at this unit conversion. All right, let's take a look at this question. My phone is about to die. 5%. Probably end at 8. Welcome everyone that is joining the Instagram live. If you are watching on YouTube, which is where you should be watching, make sure you are leaving a like. I got a 570 on. Oh, I thought you said on in total. I was about to say, what is going on? I learned regression. How much do you think I can improve in math? If that's the only thing you learn, probably not a lot, because regression is not going to help you unless you actually know what you're doing. But if you actually learn like the equations, when to use it, and like things like that, maybe plus 50, plus 100 points. Complementary angle question will appear. Yes, complementary angles are pretty common. Practice tests are actually realer. Yeah, they're like pretty easy. I wouldn't say they're that much easier. Maybe like 10 to 15% easier. What place to round on math? Do not round on the math section. I'm begging you. Unless they tell you, you have to go out as far as you can. Or if it's like people or cars or something that can't be a decimal. But if they're just like solve for x and you get the x is 6.33333, put in 6.3333. Okay? Do not round unless they tell you to. Go as far as you can. 670 to 750, yes, definitely possible. 100% possible. Will we have more geometry? No. It's like the same every time. Maybe harder geometry, but okay. Let's look at this one. So in order to connect to the internet, dedicated computers are kept in a server room. To prevent overheating, the density of computers in a new server room must not exceed this many computers per cubic foot. 1 meter is about 3.28 feet. Which of the following densities is equal to the maximum number of computers per cubic meter? So we need to have 2.1 computers per cubic foot, so per foot cubed. And we need to go to meters cubed, right? So we say, okay, 1 meter equals 3.28 feet, but we're talking about cubic. So we have to cube our conversion factor, okay? So what's 3.28 cubed? We have that 1 meter squared is equal to 35.287552 cubic feet. So then we would multiply by, we would say, okay, how do we get rid of these meters, right? How do we get rid of the feet? We have to multiply by feet. We have to multiply by feet. Right, feet cubed will cross out. We'll have meters cubed on the bottom, and then we put the 1 with the meters cubed, and then we put the 35.3 with the feet. And so I assume the answer is going to be D. We don't even have to deal with the density. That thing doesn't matter. Density does equal mass over volume though, but this is like not that. Let's see. My phone is really about to die, but whatever. I can handle it. How about the question? Sine x equals cosine x. Guys, make sure you know this. Sine of A equals cosine of 90 minus A. Basically, if you take two angles that add up to 90, sine of one equals cosine of the other. Sine of 20 equals cosine of 70, for example. Cosine of 25 equals sine of 65. Right? You have to know this, guys. This is like the only trig rule you have to know. Do you always cube square the given before moving? Yes, always do that. Always do that. Always square or cube the conversion before doing anything else. Please, I'm begging you. This question is a goofy question. I'll do this one. Why not? It's like a brain teaser. This is like an ACT type of question. If any of you guys are taking the ACT, I don't like the ACT, but that's just me. Let me make this bigger. Delete. All right. Probably gonna end soon, guys. You guys got to get to sleep. The test is starting soon. There's another like part of this question that I haven't put in here yet. Okay. All right. How do you guys want to do this question? Reading to reading, please. Literally just send me a screenshot email of that question, Kenny, and I'll do that. Guy from call center, you're fried. You're cooked. You're actually cooked. Actually, you never know. Some people perform better when they're fried. You really never know. Yo, do you have the biggest tip to get the answer for harder questions, especially? I literally posted that today. What the biggest tip is. It literally just find evidence to support your answer in the passage. Otherwise, it's wrong. Like, try to find cross-sentence connections. This supports that, so we know this. This better not be on the essay. All right. A gear ratio R to S is the ratio of the number of teeth of two connected gears. The ratio of the number of revolutions per minute of two gear wheels is S to R in the diagram below. Gear A is turned by a motor, and the turning of gear A causes gears B and C to turn as well. Gear A is rotated by the motor at 100 RPM. What is the number of revolutions per minute of gear C? So the ratio here is 20 to 60, I guess. Right? Yeah. So S to R. So if the ratio of the teeth is 20 to 60, then the ratio of the revolutions per minute is 60 to 20, right? So if this is making 100 RPM, that means 60 over 20 equals 100 over, we could say B, right? So 60B equals 2000. So 60B equals 2000. 60B equals 2000. So 2000 divided by 60. I'll just leave that as 100 over 3. So this is going at 100 over 3, right, revolutions per minute. And then if the ratio here is 60 to 10, then the ratio for the revolutions is 10 to 60. So 10 over 60 equals 100 over 3 over C. So multiply both sides by, so we would have 10C equals what, 20 times or 100 thirds times 60. We just multiply by 60 and you get 2000. So then C is C equals 200. So yeah, got your priorities wrong. Yeah, if you're not fried right now, you have your priorities wrong for sure. That's like a given. Come on, guys. Wish you get 1600. Yeah. Yeah, I wish I did get 1600. No, fuck it. Who doesn't? 1570 is good enough though. Do you flex your 1570 on women all the time? No, I'm kidding. Nobody actually cares. Literally no one cares what your SAT score is. I made a joke about that the other day. Literally no one cares. I promise. You're smart? Hopefully. I think so. I think I'm smart. What else should I do? Only have time for a couple more. Someone send me a reading question. I'm sick of doing some math. This is enough. I'm not doing this one that you just like. Look at this, guys. If you think this question is showing up on the test, you're actually just cooked. Your brain is fried. This is not showing. This is not something they're putting on the test, guys. Who is feeding you this information? Actually, they could. This is like something that they could put on the test, but very unlikely, guys. Like, come on. You should not be doing stuff like this a day before the test. You should be reviewing fundamentals and basics. Okay. Do colleges care a lot about your SAT score? Yes. Even more so if you're an international student. But like, yes, they do care. Where do we send you questions? It is in the description of this live. contact@tutoredbydesign.com. Very simple. Is it worth it to download apps? Like, yeah. Welcome everyone joining the Instagram live. I'm about to end this Instagram live. My phone is at 4%. So, I'm probably gonna end very soon, actually. But yeah. Let's see here. Why does the international SAT Reddit stuff come out when people are done taking it? How far, let's search up. How far ahead is the furthest country in time zone? So, actually, let's just search up a map of this. So, like, what is the, this is annoying. Let's search time zone map. So what? This one's like furthest ahead. So I guess like who actually takes the SAT? I guess people in Australia don't take the SAT. Does Russia take the SAT? So I guess like they're done almost. Like these people would have been done already. It's 11:35 a.m. I know in Indonesia they take it, so maybe one of these islands will be done soon. Yeah, like probably in like 3 hours maybe we'll be the first person to post in there. Do you think it's worth it to read the math section backwards? Maybe the reading. I don't know why you would do the math section backwards. Well, the formula should have surface area and volume. It has a lot of volume on it. Surface SAT formula sheet. All right, guys, I'm about to end the live on Instagram. If you are still watching this live on Instagram, first of all, thank you for watching, but also check out the YouTube Tutor by Design on YouTube where you can see me. I'll probably be on for another like 30 minutes. But thank you guys for watching, and I'm out. All right, that's that. Let's see here. That was fine. Okay, let's continue some of these questions, though. I think I'll do a little bit longer. I don't know how much longer, though. Anyway, this is the formula sheet. No. What else do you guys want to see? What is the most important part of studying the math section? I don't know. Like everything? I guess that's not a good answer. Oh, okay. Let's close out of this. It's annoying. TikTok. I could have been live on TikTok this whole time. Okay, let's see. Send me some emails, guys. Send me some good questions. Okay, I see. Okay, I'll just search this up. SAT question bank. Bro. Can you send me just a screenshot to the email contact@tutorbydesign? Let's see. The contact doesn't let me send it. Yeah, just email. Just send an email to contact@tutor, like an actual email, not through the website. What happens if you take away a mean problem? The value of a mean problem, then the mean will. If you took away a low value, the mean will increase. If you take away a big value, the mean will decrease. I just said an infrastructure. All right, we'll do that. Unit circle. Oh, cooked. I went over one earlier today. But just make them into drawing, or make them into, what's the word? I can't think. Make them into triangles. All right, let's take a look at this one, guys. I don't really understand why we do that. There was a 60 over 20 because 100 over b is RPM. Yes, it's like a ratio is equal to a ratio is a fraction, guys. X to y is equal to x over y. So like if they say x to y and is like, I don't know, x to y equals like 3 to 5, and they say that like x equals 10, find y. You just say 3 over 5 equals 10 over y. Am I from Florida? Yes, I am. I'm from California. That's spectacular. 30, 60, 90 stuff and 45. No, they're gonna ask you other things for if they give you that stuff. Okay. Let's do this one. Many mosquito repellents contain natural components that work by activating multiple odor receptors on mosquito antenna. As the insects develop resistance, new repellents are needed. Kay Dong and her team found that EBF, a molecular compound of chrysanthemum flower extract, can repel mosquitoes by activating just one odor receptor. And this receptor, OR31, is present in all mosquito species known to carry diseases. Therefore, they suggest that in developing new repellents, it would be most useful to develop things that will activate this odor receptor. Okay. So we want to figure out how we can activate this odor receptor. So what should it be? What would we put there? what should we do there? Exactly, yes. It should be A. That question should be A. I'll probably post like an explanation after I'll probably post like something about what the international students say, probably like on my story. But like the international test isn't the exact same, so it's like come on, guy from call center. You can't say stuff like that. Come on now. You're getting put in timeout. You're timed out for a minute now, boy. Let's see what else. No, I want to go to live chat. Okay, let's see here. What to do if you're stuck on math? To give up? No, I'm kidding. Just skip it and leave it for the end. Can I go from 1400 to 1500 in a few hours? Probably not. You can increase by 100 points, but if you start at a lower score, yeah. But like 1400 to 1500, that's like pretty hard. Like not really. Because they might say, like they would say for that one, for the 1 comma y, they'll say that like the angle is like pi over 3 and it's 1 comma y. So you know that the x is 1 and you know that this is y. So you could say tangent of pi over 3 equals opposite, which is y over 1. So tangent of pi over 3 is y, right? Yeah, guys, really don't be afraid to skip questions and mark them for review. I do it so much. You should have seen me on my AP test last year. I was literally like so much. Okay, let's see this one. This one's easy. I'm about to show you guys an easy way to solve one of the hardest ones in the question bank that everyone loves to get wrong. Let's see. SAT question. All right. Let's see here. You guys remember this question? You guys have probably all seen this question while you were studying. Are all the questions the same? No, like none of the questions are the same, but the topics are probably about the same. I do know what you're talking about in this pursuit. That specific question that you're talking about, I really think that's unlikely to show up. The one where it was like, it's like 6x to the 4th plus this x squared plus this. And then they're like, it can be factored into like this one where they're integers and this one where they're non-integers. Like, how do you get better at this? No, you get better at the geometry by not doing Desmos. Okay, you cannot use Desmos for geometry. So, yeah. Okay. This question is actually so simple. All right. All we have to do is it says for an electric field passing through a flat surface, the electric flux of the electric field through the surface is the product of the field strength and the surface area. So flux equals area or strength times area, right? It says a certain flat surface consists of 2 adjacent squares where the side length in meters of the larger square is 3 times the side length in meters of the smaller square. So we have this small square we could call it x by x, and this larger square that we can call 3x by 3x. It says an electric field with strength of 29 volts per meter passes uniformly through the surface, which is perpendicular to the electric field. And then it basically asks what is the flux through the larger one. So for this question, we know that the flux is 4640. We need to find x because we know that the area of this is x squared and the area of this is 9x squared, right? Because 3x times 3x is 9x squared. And so we could say 4640 equals the strength of 29 times, this should be times area, so times 10x squared, that's the total. So if we divide both sides by 290, we'll do 4640 divided by 290. 4640 divided by 290 is 16. So we have 16 equals 10 or equals x squared. So x is 4. And so then what's the strength or the flux of the bigger one? It's just 29 times the area, which is 9 times 4 squared. So you get 4176. But look, this question is even easier. What is the total area of the squares? It's 9x squared plus x squared, so it's 10x squared. What percentage of that comes from the bigger one? It's 9x squared, so it's 90, right? 90%. So if it's 90% of the area, it's going to be 90% of the flux. So what's 90% of 4640? It's 4176. And what's 29 times 9 times 4 squared? It's 4176. So easy. They could put Nusuf on the August one, but I feel like they won't because they just added ones to the question bank. So, yeah. Like, not that hard. Jargon 1600s, yeah. Science passages that are filled with jargon literally skip the words that you don't know. Skip all the long names, the ones that are italicized. They're like ridiculous, unimportant. Can you help with the one I emailed you? Yes. Oh, I did this one the other day. Okay, let's read it, guys. Take a second to read. Take an SAT practice test the day before. I don't know about that one. What are you doing English review right now? Okay, so mosasaurs were large marine reptiles that lived in the late Cretaceous period, approximately 100 million to 66 million years ago. These people examined oxygen-18 isotopes in mosasaur tooth enamel in order to calculate likely mosasaur body temperatures and determine that mosasaurs were endothermic. That is, they used internal metabolic processes to maintain a stable body temperature in a variety of ambient temperatures. This person and Harold claimed that endothermy would have enabled mosasaurs to include relatively cold polar waters in their range. So because they are endothermic, okay, they can include cold polar waters. So what would support their hypothesis? We would support their hypothesis by saying that they were able to be in cold places. These mosasaurs are in cold places. So what should it not be and what should it be? We're supposed to say that because they are endothermic, they are in cold areas. Because of that, we would say that, so yeah, it would definitely not be, it definitely not be A because it has nothing to do with how easy it is to determine their body temperature, right? We don't want to say that they're in roughly equal numbers because then that says that even though they're endothermic, like even the non-endothermic ones are still in cold areas. And then also D is just completely out of like context, right? So it's C here, right? So yeah, PCSN, what is up? What is up? Let's see what else we have here. Let's see here. SAT linear equation. All right, I am so happy you sent this question because I can do these questions for days. I'm about to lock you guys in on the easiest question in the world. Read this and let's see what you guys think. And you'll never get it wrong again. What do you guys think we should do? Let's make it bigger. You said you can't read it. Let's see. Let me make this bigger. Okay, all you need to do is you say on questions where it says originally they're charging this price and then they're charging this price. They usually would say cost per hour, cost per ticket, whatever. All you do is you say how much were they charging originally? Well, they charged 200 for 2 hours, so they were charging 110 an hour, right? 110 an hour. Then between the second and fifth hour, they paid they paid in total 400. So if they had already paid 220 for those 3 hours, the third, the fourth, and the fifth hour, they paid 180 more, right? So if they paid 180 in 3 hours, and they paid 60 an hour. Once you have figured that out, usually they tell it to you, but all you do is you use the second number as the slope always. So 60 is your slope, and then plus the y-intercept will always be the first slope minus the second times however many times you use the first cost, so 2. And here's why. So it'd be 60x plus 50 times 2. And I'm going to explain why this makes sense conceptually. So all you have to realize is that no matter what, even if it's the first hour or the millionth hour, they're paying 60 an hour. But for those first hours, how much extra were they paying? They were paying 110 instead of 60. So that's where we get that 50 from. And how many times did they pay the extra amount? They paid twice, right? So it's like that's all you have to do. What is the fast way to solve infinite solutions? I would never solve them using Desmos. I would always just get the y alone, get y equals mx plus b, get the slopes equal, get the y-intercepts equal. Guess and check type. No, I just do this by hand. Like, guys, don't waste time on Desmos. It's so time consuming. Use it on questions where it's actually useful. Like this should be done by hand. Don't waste your time. I'm not taking August, but I'm taking tomorrow. But I'm taking September. I need to go from 1380 to 750 to around 1500 last time either. Yeah, that's a good score. 640, 740. That's good. How do you get 2? Because it's for the first 2 hours. For the first 2 hours. Two equations. Yes, that is true. But you don't know which ones they are. Yes, it's because they're 2 hours. Okay, let's do this one. This one's actually really easy. This one's like very easy. All right. Jim has a triangular shelf system that attaches to a shower head. The total height of the system is the gear questions. Don't worry, it's not going to be on the test. It's like, this is ridiculous. The gym has a triangular shelf system that attaches to a shower head. The total height of the system is 18. And there are 3 parallel shelves all shown above. What is the maximum height of a shampoo bottle? Literally all you have to do is realize if this is 2x, then like the height is 2x. Right? Like compared, or not 2x. It's like 2a, we could say. It's not x because, but like the ratios of the heights are going to be the same. So then this is 3a and this is a. So in total, we have 6a. And that equals the 18 inches that the height is. So what's a? A is 3. And so 3a is just 9. So it could be 9. Okay, so students in China, what? So they're just starting, right? So. Reading tips, do you have any tips for the word in context? For words you don't know, either try to figure out the connotation, try to do suffix and roots, or try to figure out the connotation. But other than that, it's like kind of challenging. Like if you don't know the words, you're like, it's like, what can you do? Do I do one-on-one tutoring? Yes, I do. The one-on-one tutoring is for me, right? You guys could, like, you go to the website, scroll down, all the way, and you see, right here, you could book, and you could see my schedule, which, by the way, I'm going to be opening up after this test. It was blocked because I was really busy preparing for this test. Like, I was busy working a lot to prepare, so you could just book a session, and it's all done through there, so, yeah. Can we get answers from China? It's not the same test. You won't get the same test as them. Do you think it's realistic to go from, yes, for sure, to go from 720 to 750, of course. Can you explain this problem more? Literally just the rate, since the ratio of this is like 3 and this is 2 and this is 1, it matches with the ratio of the heights. Like the heights will have the same type of ratio. So it's like you just add up all the heights. And it gets 18. 2a plus 3a plus a. You could use whatever you wanted. Or you could have also realized like, okay, 3x is half of the total because this is x and 2x. Those add up to 3x. So it's half and half. And so 9 is half of the thing. Someone finished the New Zealand SAT in the Reddit. Check out what they say. Let's see. I'll probably... Why does someone email me under Clash Royale support? That's crazy. All right. First questions out of poetry. I summarized them sentence by sentence, taking notes. This is like really weird. It says a sum of solutions. Yeah, having to take the SAT while doing college prep sucks. I'm probably gonna stream until 9. Or sorry, 8. Sorry, 8. So what? Oh, it's already 8. I'll probably stop taking questions now. If you have any questions left, send them to this email. Send them to the email in this thing, and then I'll probably end after I'm done. So what? You guys have until 8 o'clock to send a message there. August SAT is the last test for this year. No, there's September, October, November, and December tests. Okay, so for this question, literally all we do is we find the solutions. So like if 3x plus p equals 0, then 3x equals negative p. The solutions are the x values. So x equals negative p over 3. That's the first one. Then for 5x squared minus 45 equals 0, I could just put that into Desmos. And I'll get 5x squared minus 45 equals 0. And it'll tell me that x is either negative 3 or 3. So then I have x equals negative 3 and x equals 3. And then here, for this one, the 2x squared minus 16x plus 6p equals 0. To find the sum of solutions there, you need to do negative b over a. That gives you the sum of solutions in a quadratic. Okay? C over a is the product. Okay? So negative b over a would be 16 over 2, so it'd be 8. Right? So it looks like 8, negative p over 3, negative 3, and 3. So we add them all up, right? Because it wants a sum. So 8 minus 3 plus 3 minus p over 3 is equal to 20 over 3. So these cancel out. You just get negative p over 3 plus 8 equals 20 over 3. So what? You have negative p over 3 plus 24 over 3 equals 20 over 3. So negative p over 3 equals negative 4 over 3. So p is 4. But you also could have solved this in Desmos, like this part. You could have just done 8 minus p over 3 is 20 over 3. Get 4. That's very, very good that they thought that in New Zealand. Vieta formula, don't know what that is. What did they say on Reddit? Let's see. International SAT Reddit. I don't want to open Reddit. It's not a good place to be on. I need to see what we're looking at before we open it. All right, this is fine. Yeah, it's fine. They didn't even have this. Let's do by newest. Where do they post about it? Oh. Here. If anything, international is usually harder than regular, than like US, so yeah. Math formulas, there's not a lot that you need to know. Like, I'll give you guys a little something that, like, I mean, these are like the only ones that you actually need to know. Like this, and then this. So, like, yeah. Okay, let's see. No more questions now. So I'll finish whatever I have left. This one that you sent, the second one that you sent, I guess I'll just show you. This is very simple. Very simple. So, the product is KAB. So we know that the product of solutions is C over A. So that's AB over 57. And they tell us that that's equal to KAB. So the AB's just cancel out and we get 1 over 57 equals K. That's literally all you have to do. So it's A. Like, that's all you have to do. Okay, well, we have a couple more now. It might be different in different regions. It definitely is different in different regions. This question basically says in the given equation. In the given equation. It's like blocked off. Yes, it is definitely different than in America. Okay, so for this, remember when we're given a quadratic and we're told how many solutions it has, we need to get it into ax squared plus bx plus c. So we have kx squared minus 56x if we distribute equals, I'm not using any books right now. This is from the SAT question bank. So kx squared minus 56x plus 16 equals 0. So then now we have the discriminant. That is b squared minus 4ac. And since that is no solutions, then it's less than 0. It says like no solutions. The question's cut off. But someone's definitely using Meta AI glasses on the test. I was talking about this with someone the other day. You could so easily create glasses that can record the test in live time and have someone with a buzzer. Like, why don't you, like, you could pay me to have a buzzer and I'm watching the test through your glasses and just buzzing it for if it's A, B, C, or D. Like, if I did that, I would charge people like, actually I shouldn't tell people this, but people could, hypothetically, you could do that if you wanted, and if you had the ability to make something like that, hypothetically, which you shouldn't because it's illegal, but hypothetically. Anyway, so then we would have negative 56 squared minus 4 times k times 16 is less than 0. So what's 56 squared? So you get 3136 minus 64k is less than 0. So then let's get k by itself. You get 3136 is less than 64k. So what's 3136 divided by 64? 49. So 49 is less than k. So what's the least possible value of k? If k is an integer, it's 50 because that's the first integer after it, right? So, yeah. All right, a couple more, guys. Whatever was sent to me before 8. Clash Royale support. I'm about to do it. Don't you worry. You're up next, actually. So let's do this. This is small. Let's. There's a goofball. Thank you, Alfonso. I appreciate that. What a guy. This is annoying. Let's do this. All right. They pulled phone out of my pocket. I probably could have pulled it out and cheated, but yo, you should not put your phone in the freaking pocket, bro. You said geometry, literally just rewind the stream. Okay. We're trying to weaken the claim about the fossils found in China. So John Bernard Caron and colleagues recently found a cache of jellyfish fossils in the Burgess Shale, a site in the Canadian Rockies that is rich in fossils from the Cambrian period. So they found some place that is rich in fossils from the Cambrian period, right? Karen and colleagues claim that these are the oldest jellyfish fossils ever discovered. In the past 20 years, 2 sites in China and the US have yielded fossils of similar age, yet that some experts believe are most likely jellyfish due to their shapes and the appearance of projecting tentacles. So basically it's saying that these people think these are the oldest jellyfish fossils ever discovered. It says in the past 20 years, 2 sites in China and the US yielded fossils of similar age that experts think are most likely jellyfish due to the shape and appearance. But Karen and colleagues argue that the apparent tentacles are in fact the comb rows of these gelatinous animals that are only distantly related to jellyfish. So here it's basically saying that these people found the oldest jellyfish fossils, but then they claim that it's the oldest ones ever discovered. They say in the past 20 years, 2 sites in China and US yielded fossils of similar age, but they think they are most likely jellyfish. But then these Karen and colleagues, they argue that they are in fact the comb rows of these. Okay, they're only distantly related to jellyfish. So what would weaken the claim? It would weaken the claim anything that would prove that they are jellyfish, right? So what do you think it would be? What is it definitely not? How different on the question make the past tests like the same thing? So I think it's definitely not. I think it's definitely not D. Okay, it's definitely not D. That's like very clearly wrong. Okay, so it's not D. Now, what else is it definitely not? POV hardest question on the SAT. I don't think this is that. Like, I don't think this is too hard. It's pretty good, but it's not like crazy. I don't think it's that bad. Get him a grammar next, please. I'm ending the stream after this, or very soon after this. I have a grammar video up on the channel. I think it's also definitely not A. Okay. Now, what would weaken it? So now we're between B and C, right? We want to make it so that we can prove or have some evidence to think that these jellyfish or these fossils are not ctenophores, right? So this is kind of not related to this, right? We're trying to like prove that it's not. I mean, you would weaken the claim by saying that like they cannot be conclusively identified as ctenophores, right? So yeah, it should be B, I think. Hopefully this is the first one that stumps me the whole day. I went all day without getting stumped. So if I got stumped on this one, then that'd suck. So far I'm 0 for 1. The last stream I did last month or in June, I got it right. So I got everything right. So hopefully I don't get stumped on. Hopefully this one didn't stump me. Whoever sent it in, send me whatever the correct answer was. I'm pretty sure it's B. Okay, so let's look at this. Let's see. You sent one at 7:55. Oh yeah, I didn't even see this. Okay, yeah, so we have I think like 3 more now that we're gonna do. The claim is that this. Well, that's not they claim this, but they use this to support it. So like they use the fact that they're ctenophores to support their claim that it's jellyfish or that like the China and US ones are not jellyfish. So like they found the oldest ones. All right. Moving on. What's this one? Oh, this one's very easy. Okay. The same 20 contestants on each of 3 days answered 5 questions in order to win a prize. Each contestant received 1 point for each correct answer. The number of contestants receiving a given score on each day is shown in the table above. No contestant received the same score on 2 days. If a contestant is selected at random, what's the probability that the selected contestant received a score on day 5, or sorry, received a score of 5 on day 2 or 3? Given that the contestant received a score of 5 on one of the 3 days, right? So if they received a 5 on one of the 3 days, right, then how many people received a 5 on the one of the 3 days? 7, right? And how many of them received a 5 on 2 or 3, day 2 or 3? It was 5 of them. So it's literally just 5 out of the 7, right? It's like not bad. The reason why I wasn't A for that question is because saying that it was like that the sites in the Canadian Rockies showed things that weren't jellyfish, that wouldn't disprove the fact that they did find jellyfish. And yes, it was B. Confirmed. We have confirmed that it was B. Okay, let's see. There's what? I think we have one more. Yeah. This is the last one now. It's a long live stream. Holy moly. What site is this from? So let's see what you guys are confused about. Let me show you back to this question. That question is like very simple. How are they supporting that it is jellyfish by claiming that it is not jellyfish? Okay, so they said, hold on. Let me pull this question back up. And then I'll do that last question. Okay. Okay, so for this site, we're trying to disprove that. Okay, so they claim that these are the oldest jellyfish fossils ever discovered. And then we're also, it talks about how they argue that apparent tentacles are in fact the comb rows of these things. So us saying that they're so poorly preserved that they cannot be conclusively identified as jellyfish or ctenophores, that would weaken it, because then they can't say that they're the oldest anymore, because these ones in the China and the US could be jellyfish. We can't tell. We can't tell if they are or aren't. So it would weaken it. If I were to hypothetically guess all the answers, what kind of order or pattern would be the best? It doesn't matter. Randomly guess any pattern and it's all the same. Okay, we're doing one more question. Oh, I've done this question before. Okay, last question, guys. An analysis by these people of coins minted in Sidon in the 5th and 4th centuries BCE reveals a change in their composition over time. While a coin from circa 450 BCE contains about 98% silver and 1% copper, a coin from 367 BCE contains 74.2% silver and 24.7% copper, giving it a relatively yellowish appearance that traders would have noticed. Because coins with a silver content below 80% were widely considered unsuitable for trade, these people speculate that a crisis in confidence in the currency occurred in Sidon about 367 BCE. Which was likely relieved despite Sidon's persistent oppressive financial obligations as a result of this person's decision to what? Okay, so it says that there was a coin in 450 BCE that was 98% silver and 1% copper, right? 90% silver, and 98% silver and 1% copper. But the new ones were 74% silver and 25% copper, right? But that traders would have noticed. And it said these coins with silver content below 80% were considered unsuitable for trade. There was a crisis, right? So how would we fix that? We would make the percentage of silver increase. The silver percentage needs to increase. So his decision to do something that would make the silver percentage increase. So if we keep the amount of silver the same and decrease the weight, right? So let's say it was like 5 grams, or let's just say like originally it was 74.2 grams out of 100, right? Because it was 74.2%. Versus now we're going to make it the 74.2 grams out of 80 grams. Then the percentage is going to increase, right? So yes, the answer there would be B. Right, the answer to that question would be B. All right, I think that's it for the stream, guys. If you enjoyed, make sure you do like the live. This was a long one. And yeah, follow me on all socials. I post a lot on TikTok and Instagram. And check out the website. I don't think I had the website up last time I did a live stream, so check it out. It's in the bio of this recording. It's just tutorbydesign.com. And so yeah, are there any last minute things? Well, yeah, it doesn't matter about weight, it matters about percentage. So if you keep the amount of silver in it but lower the amount of weight, then the percentage will increase. Thank you, Vaporize. I'll probably try to post something about what the international students say. But yeah, guys, get some sleep and just do your best tomorrow. I'll probably post 1 or 2 more things tonight that you guys can look at in the morning. I think I have to post something about, I filmed something about like what'll test day be like. But yeah, anyway, that was it. You guys can always send me emails or DM me on social media. But good luck, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.